And welcome into Half the Distance Live, your weekly barroom commentary on the NFL. As always, I am Matty Fax, joined this week by Scottathan Staten, a.k.a. Scotty Stats. Here's an empty place. The chair. It's kind of weird to just say the chair when it's just a chair sitting here.
Chair.
We'll say the professor is out, unfortunately not feeling quite well. However, we also have the great skunk hunter, Pepe Le Puducer, slightly off camera. We are here to bring you our thoughts on the NFL this week. If you've never listened to us before, we hate almost all broadcasters, and therefore our main cheer is fuck Joe Buck.
Fuck Joe Buck.
Okay. If you've never joined us before, we start off every week handing out the koozies. If your favorite team won, you get to use your favorite team's koozie. If your favorite team lost, you have to use your least favorite team's koozie. So, Scott, would you please hand me the koozies to hand out?
All right. Well, we got to start with...
Go ahead and hand me both of them. Yeah. Fuck you, Packers. I'm done with you. Fuck you. I'm using the Bears one. I don't give a fuck.
How dare you, sir?
I don't care. I don't care. I'm angry. We're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Anyway. Brian, Broncos won.
An incredible win.
I will politely put that over by his Bronco player. Your Giants had the week off. And the Patriots lost. Win-win for you.
Default. I
believe your Bills is over there. No, it's not. Hey!
Thank you, sir.
I am sorry. I know the rules. I don't give a shit. I'm so fucking tired right now.
We will divine...
We'll get into it after the Thursday night game.
Some type of penalty for this.
I don't care. I will chug a goddamn fugly sweater.
We will divine some type of penalty for this, for sure.
Let's talk about this week's games. Let's start off with the Eagles,
Yeah.
with the Commies visiting them. This was a great game on Thursday night. Thursday night has been one of those games throughout the last few years, if you are not aware. Almost always falls short. This was actually a pretty close game. The Commies made it close late.
Yeah.
But overall for the Eagles, I thought this was a great game. Commies lost 18-26. Jaden Daniels, 191 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 18 yards rushing. Brian Robinson Jr., 63 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. Austin Eckler, 8 catches for 89 yards. Leading receiver for the team.
He's a
Zach
weapon.
Ertz, 6 for 47 and a touchdown. He's a weapon, and he's getting older in age, and he's still producing.
Yep.
Jeremy Chin, safety for them, 13 tackles, 10 solo. Luvu, linebacker for them, 10 tackles, 6 solo, 2 sacks. Hell of a game. For the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 221 yards passing, 39 yards rushing, and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, it's a shame that the Giants didn't have the cap space for, or did they try? I don't even know.
They got nothing for it. They let him go for a song.
146 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches for 52 yards. His big playability is really powering this team this season.
Listen, I miss him dearly as a Giants fan, but as a football
Kinda nice
fan,
to watch him do
as
well.
a football fan, watching this man fucking
Behind an
soar
offensive line, it's fun. Listen, I get it with David Montgomery too. It sucks to see him on another team, but it's so good to see these guys that played so hard for your team and never really embarrassed the team, on field or off, have success.
I don't want to interrupt Matt's flow. Very
Go
quick.
ahead.
How old do you guys think Zach Ertz is?
30.
Nope.
2.
Nope.
33? 36. 35.
You already said 34.
You already said 34?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said 30.
Yeah,
34. Still pretty impressive. He's still playing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he's got a ring.
Absolutely. A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 65 yards. Dallas Goedert, 5 catches, 61 yards. Zach Bond, linebacker, 15 tackles, 9 solo. I want to bring something up real fast before we get further into this game. That is rookie Quinyon Mitchell out of
Boise State.
Toledo.
All
right.
22nd pick in the first round this year. Week 1. It was just, I don't even have the team written down. There's no big wide receiver. Gave up 1 catch for 6 yards. Week 2 against Drake London, 1 catch for 5 yards. Week 3 versus Chris Olave, 2 catches, 23 yards. Week 4 versus Mike Evans, 2 catches, 19 yards. Week 6 versus Amari Cooper, 1 catch for 10 yards. Week 7, Malik Neighbors, 1 catch for 9 yards. Week 8, Jamar Chase, 2 catches for 19 yards. Week 9 against the Jags in general, because whatever, 1 catch for 11 yards. Week 10, CeeDee Lamb, 2 catches for 14 yards.
God.
Week 11, McLaurin got 0 catches against him.
Oh, my God.
Now, McLaurin had a catch or two. I think he had 1 catch for 10 yards, not against Quinyon Mitchell. This rookie deserves Rookie of the Year as
Oh
of now
my
defensively.
God.
This guy is shutting down an entire half of the field. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And that defense is really starting to hum now. Like, they started off the season slow. We all talked. Did Nick Sirianni have the hottest of hot seats at first? They started
Yep.
off slow.
Yep.
They weren't looking great.
Maddie, not at first. There were points in the season he was still on a very hot seat.
And he's
Yep.
screaming at fans after one
yeah,
game.
after
like,
beating the Browns
Yeah.
with
Oh,
yeah.
Deshaun.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Weak.
Yeah.
But the defense is starting to play lights out. Their first round pick last year, his name is fucking slipping through my mind right now. Rookie out of Georgia.
The D tackle.
Yes.
He's so good.
He is. He's having a great year. This team is really starting to hum. And this is a good Washington team.
Hold on, I'll Google
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
This is a good Washington
Yeah.
team. They beat them handily. The score is closer than it would appear.
So
it was a good game to watch. It was a fun game to
Cooper
watch.
DeJean.
No, that's a
Having a good
corner.
Also-
no, he's
yeah.
a rookie corner also having
Yeah,
a very
yeah,
good
yeah,
year. Their first round.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter, yes,
Yep,
having a
yep.
great second year, and their two rookie cornerbacks they took early in the draft, really producing.
So Philadelphia, they're putting it together after
It looked like the wheels were going to fall
I mean, but
off
they-
and Sirianni's going to get fired.
but they lost their OC and their DC, right?
They didn't lose him.
Oh, I mean,
They fully intended to get rid of him.
but like
There was an utter collapse on both sides of the ball last
No,
season.
I mean-
I'm surprised
I mean-
Nick Sirianni kept his job.
no, I mean from last year.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
At the end of the year, they let them both go.
Yeah.
They have
right.
brand new ones now.
Yeah, right.
No, they lost like 8 of 9,
Yeah.
lost in the first round. They were fucking in no man's land for like 5 games, and now it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
guess what? We can actually play football.
And here's the thing: Washington is playing great football. As great as they're playing, they're still 1 or 2 years from being a
Yes.
strong playoff team.
Yes,
You can't count them out. They're super fun to watch.
absolutely.
Jane Daniels, legit, he's there.
He is.
For sure. They have some vets on the team that they got to figure out how to replace going into next. Like, you can't bank on Eckler. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see him keep going.
No,
But,
he is.
you know,
He is aging though.
but
But Brian Robinson Jr. is a great young back.
Absolutely.
And Terry McLaurin is. He was actually a slightly older rookie. He's older than you think he is. I
Yeah,
think he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
28 years old.
Yeah.
But this is still the best quarterback he's ever played with. This was a bad week for him. But again, Quinton Mitchell's been shutting down everybody.
Well-
so I am not really going to hold it. Like,
Well-
he shut down Jamar Chase.
But also,
who's better, McLaurin or Chase?
the other side of the field is Cooper DeJean.
yeah,
So it's not like their corners are fucking tight.
and young.
And yes. So it's not like there's another option.
And this
like,
is, by the
yeah,
way,
yeah.
the way this is exactly like. All right, we'll get it. The Bills had a great game today. I'm not taking away from them, but this is exactly the way I think in the next draft the Bills need to do if they're going to be successful. This is what you need to do with these
Yeah.
quarterbacks. Once
Yeah.
you give them the big contract, you have to be good at drafting these players that can step right in and play. And the Eagles are doing an excellent job of it
Yep.
thus far.
Yeah.
they truly
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from them and saying that the commies made this look close.
The-
The Eagles had a great game. Hurts is weird to me. He is not as good as he was during the Super Bowl year.
He's been really good the last 3
I'm
weeks.
so good.
I think that what he's going through is that transition of I need to be the one and only player. I need to be the guy who carries this team instead of being the pure leader, right? I'm the fastest, I'm the best. You play that style. And that's when those big plays happen.
Also, just
he
real
has
quick-
big playability, but when you rely on big playability, that's where you get burned.
He also had 39 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Just before Matt keeps going, just real quick, the Eagles have something unique that not a lot of teams have. They have an owner who doesn't get in the team's way. Howie Roseman trusts the GM. The GM says, "This is our coach. This is what I want to do," and Howie Roseman says, "Okay."
That
And
is such a big point
Yeah.
that I agree with. I agree with a lot. Unless you're a super knowledgeable owner, and I'm not sure which ones would fall into that category. But at the same time,
None.
you hire staff to be staff.
But there's
do that.
I don't.
Hey,
I
don't
think it's
try
like,
to micromanage something that you don't truly have.
I think it's
expertise
Pro Football
on.
Talk.
Jerry Jones.
They rank like the top owners in the league every year at the start of the season, and Howie Roseman is always in the top 5 because he
Absolutely.
trusts the people he hires and he doesn't fucking impede the team.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So listen, the Commanders are having a very good season, especially given the fact this is Jaden Daniels' rookie year. But I'm not going to take anything away from this Eagles win. This was a solid,
This is
all-around team win.
This was the win that changed my opinion of who the Eagles are.
I think they have a real shot this year.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get into the other teams in the divisions and conference leader. The Packers traveled to Chicago, and Chicago managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, letting a field goal get blocked in the last seconds. Packers did pull off the window. Jordan Love, 261 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, had another 18 yards rushing and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs, 76 yards rushing and a touchdown, 4 catches for 58 yards. Christian Watson, 4 huge catches for 150 yards. Jaden Reed, 2 catches, 28 yards and a touchdown. For the Bears, Caleb Williams had 231 yards passing, 70 yards rushing. DeAndre Swift, 71 yards rushing and a touchdown. Roshan Johnson, 33 rushing yards and a touchdown. On the receiving end, Odunze, 6 catches. Moore, 7 catches. Komet and Allen, 3 and 4 catches. Thomas Brown, the new offensive coordinator for the Bears that took over this week, seems to have a much better idea of what he wants to do on offense.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, this sounds very weird, but last year they did a poll of offensive players throughout the league, and despite the Panthers being so fucking awful last year, Thomas Brown got the second most votes for being the favorite offensive coordinator in the league from the NFLPA.
Oh.
I don't know what that means. Like, I truly don't understand the vote or any about it. Like, is it the coaching you like? Is it the personality? It's kind of weird. Before I get into the Packers, and I will because they won the game, they deserve to have us talk about them. For the Bears, I am still wearing my Caleb Williams jersey. I thought this game showed marked improvement. He got rid of the ball. He was decisive. He didn't turn the ball over. Yes, he didn't have a touchdown pass, but DeAndre Swift broke off a 30-yard touchdown run. Roshan Johnson got a short yardage run in. Thomas Brown comes from the McVay school. Running the ball is part of his DNA.
The Packers are good.
They are.
The Packers are good, and the Bears held them to under 20.
Well, they held to 20, under 21. Yet again, another team held to less than 21
the
points.
Bears' defense has not been the hiccup this season. Mm-mm. Like, the Bears' defense shows up.
Yeah. Right. You've got a rookie quarterback figuring things out.
If you hold an opponent to 20-ish points, your offense should have a chance. I'm not saying that's a guaranteed win, but like we should
have a chance.
You should be in the mix.
Yep.
The Bears are doing everything right.
Except situational football.
Okay, fine. Situational football. But those can get improved on. When you've got situational moments, that can get improved on. When you put yourself in the position that a situational play makes the difference, fine. But there was one particular thing, and we're going to come back to that, or do you want to touch on it right now?
Go right ahead.
All right. So this is about teams with a winning attitude and a winning culture. The one play in particular we were talking about before the show was a pitch to DJ Moore, who moves like a running back, and his blocker was veteran Keenan Allen. Except Keenan Allen didn't block his first defender.
Sorry, this was last week against the Patriots.
Oh, wait. No?
It was last week against the Patriots.
Oh, was it really?
It was a pass. The
What was the
defender
one today?
went right by Keenan Allen.
What?
Caleb Williams was still able to complete the pass. And then Keenan Allen was still looking at the guy he should have been blocking. When the safety came down, almost ran right into Keenan Allen to go make the tackle.
Yeah, all right,
and
all
had
right.
he even touched this man,
Yeah.
touchdown.
I apologize. I for some reason I thought because sometimes when you're
it was
watching
a systemic response to the issues that have been at hand all season.
When you're watching clips on TikTok, things get mixed up between when it was. Anyways, but I saw that, and the first thing that I thought in my head was, that's because this team doesn't have that winning mentality. When you have the winning mentality, like someone like the Chiefs, for instance, the Chiefs who've been eking by a number of games, but the reason they eke by is because they have a winning mentality. That winning mentality does this. You're out there busting your ass doing your job, and you know that everyone else is. When you have a losing mentality, even everyone might be out there busting their ass doing their job for most of the game, but as the game gets on, and maybe you're behind a little bit, whatever it is, it's so easy to be like, I'm killing myself every fucking play. Where's everyone else? That negativity creeps in, and then something slips. And that one Keenan Allen play, and I apologize, I thought it was this week.
No, it's okay, because I think it was a perfect example of why they had to change offensive coordinators.
When you have that winning mentality, you're out there breaking your ass every play. Even if you're the best one out there doing everything, every single play, it gets in your head, you're like, but what about this person, or what about this person? And that's when you slip. A perfect example of a team that can change that mentality is fucking Detroit.
Okay,
Right?
Can I build
Detroit,
off that?
please, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Detroit turned themselves into a team that says, I'm motherfucking hungry. We're biting kneecaps. Another team that I think is on their way up, let's see what they do in the next couple of years, the Cardinals, right? The Cardinals have had that fight in them. They were not a good team, and they embraced the winning mentality. Houston Texans went through a patch of ugliness. They've embraced that winning mentality. They've got more to go. They're not at that same mentality that I think I see in Arizona. They're not at the same mentality that I see in Detroit. If Chicago can get that, and a lot of that comes from, not a lot of it, all of it comes from coaching.
All right.
But it also comes from a core of vets that
We
can
don't
help,
have that.
that can keep those players up and motivated. And the Bears don't have that yet. But when you get some of these mid-career guys that can say, we can do this, they're the next ones up. That
Yep.
culture's going to build. The Bears are doing everything right. Even though, like, here it is, another rebuild, they're doing everything right. This season, there's been a couple game-winning drives that fell short that Caleb Williams orchestrated, and they fell short. But they're fucking doing it. They need the right people to say, keep it up. Keep it up, because that's what's going to take you from being Detroit from
Or the
4
Browns.
years ago to today.
Yep.
That mentality, the Browns have got a deeper,
The fact that the
deeper
Bears-
gulf. But
So I was really worried when the Bears got to 3rd and 19 on the last drive. I was like, oh boy. 2 big sacks given up. The first 2 sacks of the day that were given up, by the way, because Caleb was decisive and got the ball out, and the offensive line did play better. And Caleb calmly throws a 15-yard pass to fellow first-round draft pick Roma Dunze. Very next play, another pass to Roma Dunze.
yeah.
Outside shoulder, perfectly placed passes. Very next play, perfectly placed pass for Keenan Allen to catch the ball on the 30. Field goal range, like that. Caleb Williams' rookie year should have 2 game-winning fourth quarter drives on his resume.
But
That
the coaching,
defense, or the offense and defense, because of situational football, and the fact that the coaching, like the fact that they didn't take a timeout against the Commanders when you saw your cornerback turned and talking to the fans.
Yeah.
That's coaching.
and that's what I'm trying to. And Scott alluded to it with the Lions. Dan Campbell
Would have fucking taken a
Campbell-
timeout, pulled that
That's what I'm
corner,
saying. So-
and said, "Fuck you."
This is what I'm trying to say.
We're gonna win.
Dan Campbell-
not you fucking making a show.
Dan Campbell is larger than the Lions. He's not more important than anything else going on the Lions, but he's a larger than life personality that galvanized the Lions. The McCaskies refused, since Ditka, the McCaskies will not hire someone that is not a meek pussy that will not just.
Jim Harbaugh should be our head coach right now.
Yeah, and Big Cat on PMT was like, I would suck someone's dick to have had Harbaugh. Like, the McCaskies will not hire Dan Campbell if he would have been available because Dan Campbell is larger than the Bears.
Now, and listen, again, Caleb Williams is being robbed of some very big moments in his rookie year.
Trubisky, Fields, and Caleb Williams have all been robbed because they're going to have 2 complete regimes in the first 2 years of their
I
season.
agree.
And they're going to have a new coach
My
come in
hope
that
is
didn't pick them.
Now, I will wait and see what happens over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I hope Thomas Brown is able to show, for whatever coach is coming, be like, no, that's the guy I want running the offense. I want to see him show that this team responds to him and keeps playing hard. Because this is another heartbreaking loss. And after the last one, they didn't recover at all. Now, I kind of blame Waldron on that one. I'm not saying that that Eberflus doesn't deserve a lot of the fault there also as the head coach. Heavy lies the head, as they say. But I do think, despite the loss, and it hurts, like it really digs deep and hurts. I'm sorry. That's why I threw that goddamn koozie across the room. I am so angry right now that we lost the game we should have won. Again, listen, Packers, great play. You took advantage of the pressure and the gap that you knew we were giving up pressure all day.
They're a good
You
team.
took advantage. It's a very well coached team. LaFleur's a very good coach.
Oh, yeah.
He's
cannot give
15
them,
and 0 versus the Bears.
you cannot give them these fucking chances over and over and over and fucking over. He's not 15 and 0. We're at a fucking 11 game losing streak.
11. Okay.
It's bad enough as it is. Let's not make it worse. Jesus Christ.
Not yet, Eric.
All right.
However, I will say that as much as this hurts, and as good of a game as the Packers played, and they
I'm
deserve to
sorry.
win that game,
The last 15 games they've won. 11
Caleb Williams, I think, is the right quarterback. And in fact, this week, after Walter got fucking fired, in a move that he should not have had to do, Caleb Williams stood up in front of the team and took the blame and said that he did not do enough as quarterback for the team to win or for Waldron to keep his job, and took responsibility.
You gotta love that.
You do.
Gotta love that.
That's a rookie quarterback. The veterans, DJ Moore, who there's footage of him quitting on routes and
It
walking
doesn't.
off
Yeah,
the field.
it seems like he doesn't want to be there.
The offensive line that has given Caleb Williams, for the most part, not always, but a lot of very poor blocking where he has no chance, immediately under pressure. And for that rookie to stand up and be like, I wasn't performing well enough.
Yeah.
I am part of the problem that caused our offensive coordinator to get fired. I take responsibility. I'm sorry. To say that in front of a team, I hope some of the other vets stood up and said, it's not just you. It's on me and on him and on him and on all of us that didn't produce.
So the Caleb Williams walking off the field, not Caleb Williams, the DJ Moore walking off the field, he did tweak his ankle a little bit, right? And that play did kind of look like it was over, and also like he just tweaked his ankle, and I can see where he's at in that split second where it's like, ooh, I need to just kind of hop
At the same
off.
time,
Right.
Caleb actually broke free of a sack
Right,
and could have
right.
thrown a pass to him had
But
he
there's-
stayed on the field.
But there's that winning culture mentality where it's like, I need to just be here. I need to just
Yep.
be here. I can stand on the sideline with my ankle not feeling right, and I can stand in bounds.
Yep, just in case.
And then guess what? If you still didn't make the tackle because your ankle was wrong, you were still there.
Yep.
You made someone probably not run up
Take
the
their
sideline and
mind
move.
off
Yeah,
of
exactly.
going
right.
after the quarterback.
Yeah.
But you know what? Again,
Yeah.
I think we have pieces in place that work. I do think Caleb Williams is the future for us at quarterback.
I
He's
agree
done
with
enough
you.
to
I
where
agree
he
with
has
you, yeah.
shrugged off some god-awful things that happened this season. And again,
Yeah.
you get sacked twice. You're looking at 3rd and 19, and you manage to get a fucking
His-
first down and just
His
no
poise is
fucking-
really nice.
Oh, his poise under
is
pressure is
nice,
great.
yeah.
He's doing great. He's a rookie, though. Mistakes are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Again, Packers, good game.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
for those of you that don't give a fuck about these teams, I'm sorry we've gone so long. But let's talk about a team that has, for so long, he's the longest tenured coach in the NFL, has that winning fucking mentality. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers
Dog.
got 18 points out of their kicker, no touchdowns, and beat the Ravens today 18-16. Lamar Jackson, 207 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 46 yards rushing. Derrick Henry, 65 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Isaiah Likely, 4 catches, 75 yards. Zay Flowers, 2 catches, 39 yards, a touchdown right at the end. Unfortunately, didn't get the 2-point conversion, so the Steelers were able to eke out this win. Roquan Smith did have 13 tackles, 8 solo. For the Steelers, Russell Wilson, 205 yards passing, 1 interception. Najee Harris, 63 yards rushing, 4 catches for 30 yards. Jalen Warren, 41 yards rushing, 4 catches for 27. Pickens, 8 catches, 89 yards, having a great year. And Darnell
Yep.
Washington, a tight end the size of an offensive tackle,
Yeah.
2 catches for 42 yards. It's amazing to me. The Ravens have been such a good offense this year, and in the end, this game comes down to a team winning by field goals.
Yeah.
It is such a Ravens-Steelers game, 18-16. Can you be more of a Ravens-Steelers game than that?
And this speaks to look, last week we were all sitting here saying Ravens are a Super Bowl team.
They are.
In fact, I still think even with this loss,
They're in the run.
they're the team to beat. I do believe they're the team to beat. But motherfucking Pittsburgh's defense is
Tomlin has
so
that team
good.
amped to play
And
every time they take the field.
And it's not just amped to play; he's got them coached to play. Like this defense is so good; they don't play just one way. They know how to scheme against the upcoming offenses. They're not just a tough defense; they're a smart defense. Pittsburgh defense has the ability to give them a deep run in the playoffs.
Yes, it does.
Because they have the ability to scheme against any fucking offense.
And Russell Wilson will have his ups and downs. He's aging as a quarterback. He's not
Sure,
the athlete he used to be. But George Pickens,
Yeah.
he's
yeah.
really having a season.
This also goes back to James Harrison, Hines Ward those days. Think of how many larger-than-life personalities he had in the locker rooms that he was able to, like,
Oh,
we're
God.
going
Oh,
to
yeah.
keep this.
Le'Veon Bell.
like Antonio,
Brown.
so many boys. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a dumpster fire inside, but he's shielded so much the outside noise away from. Yeah,
And that's why he has. We actually remember we were going into the season. We're like, this is the season.
Big Ben, like so many fires he had to put out with Big Ben.
Big
I'm
Ben
sure.
with an arm that was like a limp fucking spaghetti noodle the
But-
last
Yeah.
2 years he played.
We flat out predicted that this was the season that he finally has a losing record. Look at him fucking go.
We're wrong
Wrong.
again.
Wrong.
And this is why they play the game.
And that's why Tomlin is one of the best. And,
Absolutely.
and I think he's going to go down as one of the great coaches.
He is.
Absolutely.
I'm actually kind of curious why, like, more defensive coaches and shit haven't come out of his system at this point, to be quite honest.
Maybe they stay in house.
Maybe.
Or also, maybe it's tough to know what he knows.
Also,
Maybe
I
it's
just wanna
not that
say,
teachable, you know?
These are two teams that, like, if you had told me before the season that the Steelers and the Ravens would be in first place in division, I wouldn't have said you were wrong. But I would have thought the Bengals would have been up near the top, and the
Yep.
Browns with that defense.
Yep.
And you know what? The Bengals started slow, as they are known to do at this point. But the Browns just fell off the face of the earth without any offensive production, and the Steelers have managed to do it with two different quarterbacks playing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them playing in different styles, but still winning despite
Yep.
the fact they're
Yep.
having to start different quarterbacks. Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach.
Mm-hmm.
He really is.
Right or wrong, him being from the projects of Newport News, Virginia, might resonate when he's talking to Le'Veon Bell or Antonio or some of
True,
these guys.
true.
You know what I mean?
True.
More so than like Kevin Stefanski coming at you.
Yeah.
You're not wrong there.
It might. Yep.
Hey,
I like it.
guys, next game. It's a scoregami.
Oh.
We had a score that's never occurred before. As it should, because 52-6 is a weird ass score. But there were the Lions with 600 yards of offense against the Jags. And Jags fans, I'm sorry.
And-
Holy shit, am I sorry?
Actually, one of the best parts of the Lions win is that it gave a third Blake a touchdown.
Oh my god. Balake?
No, wait.
Three Balakes in one day?
Wait, it wasn't Blake. It was
Brock's.
Sorry, a third
Three
Brock.
Barakes.
Three Barakes got a touchdown today
Nice.
because it was Brock.
Purdy.
No. For Detroit, I don't even.
I don't
remember
even know.
I apologize. Let me look it up. I sent it to
All
you.
right.
So yeah.
So the Lions won 52-6 for the Jags. Mac Jones, 138 yards passing and 1 interception. Travis Etienne, 27 yards rushing. Brian Thomas Jr. having a good rookie year out of LSU. 5 catches for 82. Evan Ingram, 5 catches for 28. For the Lions, Jared Goff, 412 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. David Montgomery, 75 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches, 20 yards. Jameer Gibbs, 69 yards rushing and a touchdown, 1 catch for 54 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, ho-hum, 11 for 161 and 2.
lame.
And then Jameson Williams, 4 for 124 and 1.
And Brock Wright, one of their tight ends,
Not wrong.
got a touchdown today.
Fucking crazy.
So yes, Brock Wright, Brock Purdy, and Brock Bowers.
So the
all
Lions
scored
have
today.
one loss on the season. They are just crushing through
Who?
everybody they play.
Who'd they
Oh,
lose
it was an ugly. It was like the Saints or something like that. It's a shitty loss. Oh yeah,
I'll find it.
you're the producer. You look it up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Matt's
Yeah,
got a job
keep going,
to do.
Matt.
So-
I'll look it up. Keep going.
All right.
He's got a job to
my
do.
biggest thing here is we know the Jags aren't good.
But
But how good are the Lions?
but how good are the Lions? Like
Truly.
Jesus.
Like, they've had games where it's like, we will score any way we want. We will give the ball to offensive linemen. We will do stupid shit just because it's fun because we're up by 35 points. The Lions don't seem to give a fuck how they win a game. They will win when whatever way opens itself up and is possible through the offense.
All right,
All right, NFC South team is who they lost to.
Atlanta.
Nope.
The Saints.
Nope.
The Panthers.
Nope.
Oh, Bucks.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Bucks
Yeah,
have a
never.
squad.
But that's a.
Was it the Bucks with Mike Evans?
Yes, it was. It was early. It was early in the season. Yeah.
Godwin was still going.
They had.
That's
They
a
had.
different
They had.
Bucs
Yeah,
squad.
it's a different Buck squad.
Also, a quarterback that plays with a big ass chip on his shoulder. Like, you think Jared Goff plays with a chip on his shoulder?
Yeah.
Laser Mayfield.
Yeah.
Laser Mayfield.
All right. So hypothetical. Like let's think about when the Texans took Deshaun Watson, who was an elite quarterback at the time. While he was going through a lot of nonsense, by the time he was sat down, he was an elite quarterback, and they got rid of him. They traded him. The best thing they could have done, but still, they traded an elite quarterback, which is not an easy thing to do.
not getting a quarterback back in return either. They ended up having to draft one the next year.
Yes.
For the Lions.
But I want to talk about the Jags. Do the Jags need to look at getting rid of Trevor Lawrence? Is that what they have to do?
You can't. You
Better
just paid him
question.
last.
Can you handle the cap hit that would come with that?
I get
I
it.
don't think you can.
I mean, there might be some squads that can do it, but because you say that at the same time, this quarterback.
But you still have to eat dead cap space.
I
from
get
that.
it.
And
I
it's
get it.
huge.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. They have to eat the dead cap space for it. Yeah, fair enough. But at some point, they need to look at getting rid of him because he's got to be a good quarterback. It's in there.
So then why are you looking at getting rid of him if he's still got to be a good quarterback?
Because they need to do a rebuild, and
I think a rebuild is easier having Trevor Lawrence than without.
Okay. All right.
I realize that salary cap wise, his contract will put some constraints on you. But it's easier to find some players that you can build an offense around with a quarterback in place.
But if you're someone like this is a terrible example because I know their cap space sucks.
The Saints.
But if you're someone like the Saints who need a fucking quarterback, right?
Or paying David Carr $50 million.
Or if you're the Titans who need a fucking quarterback, Will Levis is not your answer. There's teams out there. I'm not saying that it's going to happen next year or the year after, but at some point, he's getting wasted on that squad. I'm not saying he's in it he was supposed to be Brady 2.0. I'm not saying that he's going to be Brady 2.0 ever, but he's a better quarterback than we're seeing. I believe that. I do believe that.
Well, I think Doug Peterson might not have a job in the morning.
There's a good chance.
Yeah, it's a good chance. Yeah.
Hey, here's a fun thing. The Lions, when they traded Stafford for Goff and some picks, right? Mm-hmm. Today, if you add up the yardage totals and touchdown totals for Goff and Stafford, it is 707 yards passing and 8 touchdowns between those two.
Yeah.
Because the Rams went to New England and beat the Patriots 28-22. Matt Stafford, 295 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, 86 yards rushing. Puka Nacua, 7 catches, 123 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 6 catches, 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. And just to show how little the rest of the team did, Tutu Atwell was the next leading receiver with 1 catch for 21 yards. For the Pats, Drake May, another good game. 282 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Ramondre Stevenson, 73 yards rushing. Kendrick Bourne, 5 catches, 70 yards and a touchdown. Hunter Henry, 6 catches for 63. And Pop Douglas, 5 for 59. The Pats are playing way above their weight now.
They found their quarterback in Drake May.
They did. And the Rams, it's just having Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp there. And granted, yes, those are 2 excellent wide receivers. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but it's amazing the difference just getting those 2 back, what it does for their offense.
And they're recovering from their credit card debt of the Super Bowl from a few years ago, and the squad they're building, and recovering from losing, someone pretty incredible on defense. Those are things that they take time.
That's a nice way of putting. They lost one of the best defensive tackles in the history of the game, in Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
I don't think best defensive tackles is one of the best
but
defensive players of all time.
But also,
I would say when you could say he's up there with Mean Joe Green.
Yeah.
That is a statement in itself.
And that was last year. But even a couple years ago, when Whitworth went away, that wasn't a small loss either.
Oh, on offensive side, that was a big loss.
Whitworth is
That was
a Hall of
tackle
Fame
side.
left tackle.
Yeah.
And
For nothing else than sheer length of fucking career. I'm sorry.
Well,
if you have a 20-year career in the NFL,
Well,
I think you've earned the right to have a Hall of Fame jacket.
Hell yeah.
Well,
Hell yeah.
he was also just
As a non-punter or field goal kicker.
Oh,
I should probably put that
no,
caveat
but
out there.
Whitworth was just mired in mediocrity in the Bengals, which isn't saying he wouldn't have been a Hall of Famer anyways, but it was just good for that guy to get a ring in the twilight of his career.
So
Absolutely.
they're doing a really nice recovery for sure.
I agree. For the Pats, though, it's weird as we're talking about the first, second, and third picks in the draft. Because we've discussed the Commies with Jaden Daniels, we've discussed the Bears with Caleb Williams, and now Drake May with the Patriots. I actually think all 3 of these teams have their quarterback for the future.
Yeah.
I think it's an exciting thing
Yeah.
for all 3 teams
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
We'll see what they can do as far as building a team around it. For the Bears, you need to draft offensive linemen and nothing else until you get that fixed. For the Commanders, their offensive line is okay.
Yeah.
A couple more playmakers on the offense and some defensive players because you did trade your 2 bookend defensive ends
got rid of Sweat
during
last year.
season.
Yeah,
Montez
yeah.
Sweat on the Bears has been very helpful. For the Pats, you've got Drake May. Now you need to build the team around him, and their team is much more lacking in playmakers around on
It's okay.
paper.
It's okay, but yeah,
on
yeah,
paper.
yeah, yeah.
But get some playmakers for him on offense. Get
Yeah.
some good defensive
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
These are teams that can build around these quarterbacks. I think it's very exciting
This
for the
isn't-
future of the NFL.
This isn't a long-term solution, but May has a sleepy good security blanket tight end in Hunter Henry.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Just
You're
Why
right.
not?
You're
Keep
right.
him there. He's a little more aged, but you know what? He will always.
He's under
you got 3
30.
to 4 years of him being a good safety.
No,
player.
but like Drake May as a rookie, just like things are kind of falling apart. I can hit him for 6 yards, and
Absolutely.
like we'll keep this drive going.
Absolutely. I think it's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Speaking of two teams that, listen, all right, the Browns traveled to the Saints today, lost 35-14. Jameis Winston did all he could. 395 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Nick Chubb, 50 yards rushing. He's still coming back from that massive knee injury. I think even having that output is pretty fucking good. Jerry Jeudy, 6 catches, 142 yards, and a touchdown. David Njoku, 9 catches for 81. Elijah Moore, 6 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Cedric Tillman, 3 catches for 47 for the Saints. Cedric. My apologies. Carr, 248 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Taysom Hill, 8 catches for 50 yards to go with 7 rushes, long of 75, for 138 yards and 3 touchdowns, which definitely put a cap on my Alvin Kamara fantasy game. 67 yards rushing and 4 catches for 22. Foster Moreau, 3 catches for 50 yards, and Juwan Johnson, 3 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown. The Saints, Taysom Hill has these weird explosive games where you're like, where the fuck did that come from? But
Yeah.
he just does it. It's what he has done his
He's-
entire career. He'll then vanish for 4 or 5 games.
I forgot who said it, and it sucks because this person deserves the credit. When they on whatever show it was, and they said he is the single best football player in the
Yeah.
game today. The problem
Sean
is
Payton said that.
he's positionless. He's positionless,
but he's still deemed valuable enough that he's on
right?
a
And when
52
you
squad roster.
when you find out how to scheme him, he's insane.
Yes.
Oh, because he's going to run the ball, but he's behind the line of scrimmage? You can't just assume he's going to rush, because he can throw the ball with nice
he can.
accuracy.
Yes, he
And
can.
it changes everything. Like, when they scheme around him and he has these games, you're like, fuck, keep doing that.
He's kind of like if Tim Tebow would have panned out and they would have, like, just
Well,
as an athlete.
If Tim
Oh,
Tebow
yeah.
would have panned out as being willing to be more than a quarterback.
right,
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
not
yeah.
your standalone quarterback, but like we can plug and play you.
Yeah.
You're 6'4", you will throw your body out there.
Yep.
Yep.
More accurate than Tebow, but just
Yep.
like,
He really is like the NFL version of what Tebow could have
Like,
been.
he
Right.
could be, if they were like,
and he's obviously
Hill.
better than Tebow because he's still in the league.
if we're like,
Also
Hill, we need you to be a
accurate.
linebacker, he'll be like, I'll be a linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'd be a great
go on
linebacker.
special teams, tackle somebody?
Yeah.
I'll go tackle somebody.
You want me to
Yeah.
do special teams?
It's like the replacements. Go give me the ball. I'll get you that ball.
I'll go to the ball.
Yeah.
It's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Another team that snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. The Jets gave up a last-minute touchdown, lost to the Colts, 28-27. Anthony Richardson, 272 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 32 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, one of which came in the last couple minutes. Jonathan Taylor, 57 yards rushing. Jonathan Downs, 5 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. Alec Pierce, 3 for 74. Pittman, 5 for 46. For the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, 184 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Brees Hall, nice game. 78 yards rushing and a touchdown. 7 catches for 43 and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 6 for 72. Garrett Wilson, 4 for 18. This is more of the Jets falling into the same old pattern this year. I feel very bad for Jets fans.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you have Aaron Rodgers this year. He might resign for next year. What's your future? What's the next step? Like, the Falcons, as much as people made fun of or gave shit to, took Michael Penix with their first-round draft pick. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Jets taking offensive tackle with their first-round pick. It's a smart move. It helps build for the future. But, like, Michael Penix gives the Falcons so when our 36/37-year-old quarterback ages out, we have our next step.
With 3 years of observing NFL games
Yeah.
before you just throw
Yes,
me to the
behind
fire.
a quarterback who, from all information I have seen, is an excellent person for helping young
Oh, yeah.
Well,
players.
that's the
Yes.
thing. I'm not.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins might not be a Hall of Famer, but like I've seen multiple things where it just he's not Brett Favre ostracizing
Yeah, he would
Aaron
do that.
Rodgers on the side. He's like, this is what I see. This is how I do things.
Hall
like,
of Fame of good teammates.
Yeah.
He
If
is.
he
Yeah.
doesn't make the Hall of Fame,
He won't.
He
He's
won't.
not. He's not going to.
Unless he wins a ring, he
But
will.
he will be
Yeah.
considered one of the great teammates of all
His
time. His teammates
yeah.
love him.
He's going to be one of those things where in 20 years you're talking to some young buck and you're like, "Let me tell you about Kirk Cousins, though."
No, Scott,
Like,
I don't know
yeah.
if you remember this, but when he popped his Achilles in Minnesota last year, before he left the field, he was literally talking to the boys like, "You guys are still in this game. Like, you guys
Yeah.
can still win this. I'll
Yeah.
be back on the sideline." I can't remember who the backup was, like helping out. Like, just football guy wants to help the team.
Yes.
It was like
absolutely.
Nick Mullins, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then they ended up bringing in
Yeah, because last year
Josh
when Aaron
no,
Dobbs.
Rodgers
truly,
got
like-
hurt,
Yeah.
you know,
Like,
fucking...
I'm gonna delay going to the hospital so I can get like out
Yeah.
of my
Yeah.
of my uniform. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get on the sideline till the end of the game, help whoever's going in.
Yeah.
And then I like just good
Right,
dude.
Because last year when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, like Zach Wilson was like, "No, it was great while he was healthy. He was very much talking to me about games and everything, and then he got hurt and he stopped talking to me."
Yeah.
How was that going to help the young
But we already
quarterback?
we already know who Aaron Rodgers is.
Yeah, right.
This is true. I just wanted to point it
Yeah.
out because it's the dichotomy
Yes.
difference. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how to phrase what I'm trying to say.
Dichotomy. Yeah,
juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Yes, of who would you rather have helping to coach up your young quarterback? Kirk Cousins is the guy you'd rather have helping coach up your young quarterback.
You can watch and sit behind a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers and learn nothing,
Yep.
or you can watch and sit behind Kirk Cousins, who's almost Hall of Fame level, really good quarterback, and
actually,
learn a ton.
speaking of which, Anthony Richardson was 20
Right.
of 30 in this
Yo,
game for
he-
272 and a touchdown throwing the ball after having been sat and sitting behind
I-
Joe Flacco, who I am almost
Also good
sure.
dude.
I don't know for sure. I haven't
Good
seen
dude.
anything. I'm willing to bet he was talking to Anthony Richardson the whole time, explaining to him why different things are being run, why you go to certain place, why you trying to throw the ball certain
Right.
areas in certain times. Anthony Richardson played much better today, and I think part of it probably was because he actually got a chance to sit and watch Joe Flacco. But I still think this was the right move because,
Oh.
again, Anthony Richardson is the future of
Dude,
your franchise. You
what-
need him to learn how to play in these duress games.
If you remember a few weeks ago, we were like it. The discussion was it doesn't make sense to sit Anthony Richardson. He's your future. Like you got to get him out there to play. But the way that he played today really made it seem like that was the right move. Which means
It may have been.
the things we don't know is if the coaching staff is like he's just Shane Steichen is just sitting there like he's too immature. We've got to bench him, and we got to watch us lose with Joe Flacco at the helm. He's got to taste that. But at the same time, I feel Joe Flacco's the guy who's like, come over. I'm going to grill up some steaks. Yeah. I'm going to pour you a fucking a tasty bourbon. I'm going to pour you a
tall
Merlot.
glass of
Like,
2%
we're going to
milk.
throw on game tape.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to break down
Yeah,
to you
yeah,
how I
yeah.
watch it,
Yeah.
how I prepare,
Right.
what I look for, what I
Yeah.
think tendencies are, what
Yeah.
I think defensive adjustment or fronts are showing me. That's exactly the type of guy I think Flacco likely is
Yeah.
in discussions with his backup quarterback.
I had to tell you a fun fact about
Oh,
Flacco.
I want to interrupt real quick. Right here in this, as we're watching the Bengals game, Joe Burrow scrambling, goes to throw the ball, and is heading towards a lineman, which means he's an ineligible. I don't know.
Ineligible
He
receiver.
might not have been
He can't
downfield.
catch the ball.
He's a
He
legible
might not have been
Ineligible.
downfield. He might have been behind the line of
He also
scrimmage.
can't be red.
Yeah.
But a lineman can catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage.
No.
No? And whatever. But the
If the
regardless,
defender touches it first.
Okay.
Yes. If it's just a fucking errant pass,
it went to that lineman, and the first thing he did is swat it down. He had no thought in his head about catching it.
You know what that's called?
What?
Coaching.
Situational coaching.
All right, so
Weird how that came back
Full
all of a
circle.
sudden.
Full
real
circle.
quick, Flacco is older than Anthony Richardson's mom.
Yeah. Right.
Watch
So
out,
An-
Anthony.
So
Flacco might
Anthony
be hitting on your
Richardson's
mom.
sitting in this beautiful house, like established, like you've had money long enough that you've settled into it, right?
Yeah.
Someone's bringing them snacks to watch game tape, and he's sitting there going, "This is what I want.
But Anthony
this is
Richardson's
what I
mom
want."
Had him when he was 17, and that's fine. But Flacco was 17 years older and like 2 more months
Yeah,
than
yeah,
Anthony
yeah.
Richardson's mom.
Yeah.
All right. The Vikings went to Tennessee and pulled out the win. Sam Darnold, 246 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 39 yards rushing. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 81 yards. Jordan Addison, 3 catches, 61 yards and a touchdown. Oliver, 3 catches for 34 yards. Andrew Van Ginkel, linebacker for the Vikings. 8
Stud.
tackles, 7 solo, 2 sacks. It's a hell of a game. For the Titans, Will Levis had a good game for him. 295
Nice,
yards passing,
nice.
1 touchdown, 1 interception, 18 yards rushing. Here was the big issue. Tony Pollard, 9 rushes, 15 yards. Tyjae Spears, 3 rushes, 0 yards. Nick Westbrook-Akine, 2 catches, 117 yards and a touchdown. Big play man. Calvin Ridley, 4 catches, 58 yards. Tyler Boyd, where have you been all season? 2 catches, 34 yards. I have a hard time saying Will Levis is not capable of playing in the NFL when he gets 15 yards rushing out of 12 rushes from his top 2 running backs.
And I get the
And
argument
the
of
Vikings have a great defense. Don't get me wrong.
But the argument of they were behind, you got to throw the ball when you're behind. You got motherfucking Tyjae Spears. He's going to make plays to set up the throws.
So will Tony Pollard.
So will Tony Pollard.
They can both catch.
Hell yes. It's ridiculous that that's what they had. Ridiculous.
It's pathetic, actually.
Yeah.
It's really pathetic.
I don't think that Will Levis is the long-term
He may not
solution.
be, but I don't think he's the fault of the
I don't think it's the
offense
fault.
right now
No,
either.
no.
He has made some dumb
No.
plays this year. He's still had some dumb turnovers, but
Tell you what, if anyone could be the next Taysom Hill, it could be him. He's a fucking big old boy.
you're not
big
wrong
old
there.
boy.
For the Vikings, listen, this is a game they should have won. This is a game they did win. I don't want to take anything away from them either.
Vikings, beginning of the season, are not the same as the Vikings now. The scheming against their offense is there.
But now is where the defense and Brian Flores shine.
That's exactly it. The defense is keeping them in the game. Brian Flores, we've talked about him since he was in it, like getting swindled in Miami.
Yep.
He's a good fucking coach.
He deserves to be a head coach again.
And at the defensive level, he is an elite
Absolutely.
coordinator.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. The man deserves a head coaching job again.
Or you know what? Just pay him more money to be your DC
Sure.
forever.
Sure.
He'll win you playoffs.
The Raiders traveled to Miami and lost.
No.
For the Dolphins, they won 34-19. Gardner Minshew for the Raiders had 282 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Alexander Madison, 19 yards rushing to go with 3 catches for 50 yards. They also had Jacoby Myers, who was their leading rusher because he had 1 rush for 20 yards, who had 4 catches for 28 yards. And Gardner Minshew being like, well, I see what works, and I'm going to use it. Brock Bowers, I'm going to have to look up his stats and how they fucking pan against other tight ends that are rookies. 13 catches, 126 yards and a touchdown. He was a beast in college. He's a beast in the pros.
He was the correct
Holy
pick.
shit, he was a great pick
Was
for
he
them.
3 or 4?
Oh, no, he was like the 11th or 12th pick. But
Was it that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But I was like,
Oh, that's
I don't
right,
get it. You
because-
took Mike Myers out of Notre Dame last year at tight end. Why are you taking another tight end? It's making a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
For the Dolphins, Tua, 288 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Devin Achane, 73 yards rushing and a touchdown. Jonnu Smith, 6 catches, 101 yards and a touchdown, and 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 7 catches for 61 and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, feeling the effect of those Jonnu Smith catches, 2 catches for 37. The Dolphins' defense is playing lights out right now. Their offense is finally starting to get back together with Tua getting his head somewhat back into form. I am still very terrified. If you listen to my podcast, Straight Facts, this past week, I brought up the fact that last week against the Rams, he threw an interception, and he was there trying to make the tackle, going in head first.
Yep.
He was luckily just took a shin to the head instead of a knee. I'm terrified that he's going to get himself hurt because of the fact that he's a full-time gamer. When he's on the field,
yes, he is.
full out playing, and
Yes.
he wants to win.
Yes, he is.
And I appreciate that, and I love that about him, but I am terrified for the man because I don't want to see him have a massive brain injury
Yeah.
on field where we have to watch
For the
that on
4th
TV.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to see one that truly
Yeah.
does damage now.
I do want to point out that so
I
far
mean, they're all doing damage now
Yeah.
for the future.
this year, the only week that Tyreek Hill has 100 yards
He got stopped by the cops in front of the...
is week 1 when he got arrested. So he might want to speed to the games a little bit more often. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
He is the cheetah.
It's
Their defense is playing lights out, though, right now. And listen, the Raiders, not a good team. So it kind of is what it is there, but damn. All right. The Buffalo... No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. 30-21 over the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, 196 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 big interceptions. One at the beginning of the game, one at the end of the game.
And he's still leading the
Bookends,
league in
baby.
interceptions.
Bookends.
Kareem
baby.
Hunt, 60 yards rushing. Xavier Worthy, 4 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Hopkins, 3 catches, 29 yards. And Noah Gray, backup tight end, 4 catches, 23 yards, 2 touchdowns. For the Bills, Josh Allen, he's in the MVP running, and he's probably in the front seat
Dude,
now.
that last-
262 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 55 yards rushing, and a touchdown. The last one being a 26-yard run on a 4th down play.
Yeah.
Such a big play. It was huge.
It was like 4th and 6.
James Cook, 20 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 5 catches for 7 yards. Nothing crazy there. I just wanted to highlight the 5 catches. Khalil Shakir, 8 catches, 70 yards. Curtis Samuel, who was such a weapon in different ways. I'm glad they're finally taking advantage. 5 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown. And Cooper, 2 catches, 55 yards. A one-handed on the sideline that was a thing of beauty. And seeing Josh Allen get more acquainted with each other, I think he's going to put up more and more numbers. Listen, Josh Allen is in the driver's seat for the MVP, in my opinion, after this weekend.
And when Cooper starts getting more in rhythm with Josh Allen,
Well,
Khalil
Watch
Shakir,
out.
Shakir's
you
already
gotta think,
there.
We beat, and Keon was out, Cooper was
Yeah.
out, and Josh Allen was already in the MVP conversation going into this. That 4th down run for the touchdown
Dude.
was the play of the season, not because it was the best play of the season, but it was the play of the season
For
because
the
of the
significance.
because of the implications.
Because of the implications.
Because of the implications.
Implications.
And so I was telling Greggy about this. I'm glad we won,
Will
but
Disley, touchdown.
we can beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. But by the transitive property, I was telling Greg, I want to lose this game in the we can beat them in the regular season, but I want to lose this game so we could beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, why? Because now the Chiefs are like, we've bled, and now we're going to be angry.
Yes.
And I'll say this, though. If you're the Chiefs, you should, in your locker room, even though you're winning, there should already be that discussion of,
They
we
don't
won,
look that
we
good.
won today, but not because we were the better team on the field.
But
And that's
That's
the
what I like.
reality.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that, this loss, they shouldn't be reacting to
It
this
should
loss.
galvanize their offense.
Maybe. But if they were, I already said they have a winning culture. The reason that they've been winning those games is because of their winning culture. I don't think this changes anything for them.
no.
I'm sure they're going to be they're amped up over it. But they don't need to play amped up. They don't need to play angry. They need to play their smart, cerebral football because that's what's been winning them their games. That being said, for Buffalo to put up those kind of
hell of a
numbers
win.
This
on
was
their
a-
defense,
This is a hell of a win.
This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for Buffalo.
yeah.
And
Justifiably.
yeah, and Milano's out, Coleman was out, Cooper's out. It's hard to be bad about being 9-2, but unless the wheels totally fall off.
You do not get to say you're mad about being 9-2.
No, I'm saying, but unless the wheels totally fall off, at some point you're either going to run into Baltimore or Kansas City in the playoffs.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
any way you slice that, that's not like
No.
well, that's in the bag.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of their actual real threat in the playoffs, the Broncos beat the Falcons 38-6 today. Kirk Cousins, 173 yards passing, 1 interception. Bijan Robinson, 35 yards rushing to go with 4 catches for 28 yards. Drake London, 3 catches for 61. And McLeod, 6 catches, 46 yards. For the Broncos, Bo Nix, 370 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, 59 yards rushing and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton, 7 for 78. Vele, 4 for 66. Lil John Humphrey, 4 for 52 and a touchdown. Mims, 2 for 49 and a touchdown. And Nick Benito, 7 tackles, 4 solo, 2 sacks out of the linebacker position. The Broncos are not who I thought they were. They are starting to get some real confidence on offense. Their defense is still playing lights out. This is a team to watch out for right now.
Yep.
Bo Nix,
Yep.
when he needs to, can also rush the ball. This team is playing very well. Mm-hmm. And they beat the tar out of a fucking, what I thought was a good NFC team
Yeah.
in the Falcons. Truly, the Falcons have a lot of weapons. They have defensive pieces. But man, the Broncos took them out behind the woodshed and beat the dog shit out of them today.
That was a great win. Great
Amazing win by the Broncos.
Great
I
win.
wish the professor was here to celebrate this.
Yeah, I know it.
Thoughts on either team moving forward?
I just think the Broncos are such an enigma where, you don't know what they're going to do.
They were starting from such a low spot. So to see them hit these There was a number of earlier in the season, multiple times. There was like Brian was like, "This was a moral victory. We lost, but I saw everything I needed to see." This is a team that's marching forward.
Yep.
Yeah, but
This
even
is-
like with Sean Payton with a quarterback who he doesn't hate,
Yeah.
who he wants to develop. Like
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know. I didn't think Sean Payton would. If I were Brian, I'd be happy Sean Payton is the coach.
I would be too.
and-
I'd be
and-
glad that Russell Wilson is not on my team.
Yeah.
I'd be
the-
like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll pay his contract
But
for
with
another
that
1
said,
year.
you can still see Russell Wilson on the Steelers looking like I still can play football.
That's fine. He and Sean Payton weren't meshing. They found a way to get a quarterback that Sean Payton meshes with, that fits his system, and they're playing lights out.
And
you know
also-
what? They should have won last week. One real bad play by the left side of their offensive line
Yeah.
away from winning versus the Chiefs in Kansas City.
I think Russell Wilson saw his team winning without him behind a quarterback that he didn't want to succeed, and that was enough for him to say, I got to figure it out. I also think that Tomlin is better at scheming for the players on the field, where Sean Payton
This is my offense. You need to run it.
exactly.
Yep.
And you've got a kid in Bo Nix who's teachable.
Right. White guy resonates with Sean.
Jesus Christ! I didn't. I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Brian's
you know.
listening. That's why I had
Accurate
to
in
do
the
it.
short game passing,
Yep,
though, is
yep.
very important.
Yep,
Russell
yep.
Wilson has never been known as a super accurate short game passer. Bo Nix is, and that is what really makes the Sean Payton scheme
Yep.
thrive. Is can you hit these underneath routes, because that's what opens up the deeper routes
Right.
in Sean Payton's system. In addition, you have Javonte Williams and Audric Estime, two running backs that are starting to. Estime didn't do much today, but they're kind of feeding off each other. One will have a big game one week, one will have a big game the next week. This is more of the way that Sean Payton's offense works. It's never just one running back. It's a team of them. And it's the quarterback hitting those short intermediate routes, which is what Bo Nix is very good at and was in college. That's really panning out for
Yeah,
them.
no.
That's also setting your rookie quarterback up for success. Just
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Get in
Which
rhythm
is
early, hit some 5-yard-ish to 10-yard passes.
Which is exactly what the Commanders have been doing with Jaden Daniels for a
Yeah.
lot of the season.
Yep.
Which is where...
Which
I
is
hate
what
to bring it back
Caleb
to the
Williams
Bears.
needs to do.
This is what Shane Waldron failed at with Caleb Williams, is giving him some easy layups early in the game to give him confidence, because he's a fucking rookie.
And
Maybe
confidence
he shouldn't
isn't-
have to be walking up to the line of scrimmage and be like, all right, that's the middle linebacker. Now the wide receivers and I need to be in complete cohesion, because we're each reading the defense and they're going to run routes based off it. Like, no, like, take it back to its basic. Like,
No, but
stop
like,
overdoing what the quarterback has to do as a rookie.
A -1 bubble screen for Caleb Williams is not getting him into the rhythm.
No.
Bo Nix hitting some easy 3, 4, 5-yard outs.
That's
which
helpful.
Which is
Oh, yeah.
what's going on with Sean Payton is very
Yeah.
helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It breeds confidence.
They're on a nice rebuild.
Absolutely. They're
Like
doing a
it.
good job. And again, we're now at the 4th rookie quarterback that's producing well this year. And I think it's, again, great for the NFL that we have
Yes,
this happening.
yes, it is.
All right, last game of the early ones. The Seahawks went to San Francisco and took the win from the 49ers 20-17. Geno Smith, 221 yards passing, 1 interception, 4 rushes for 29 yards and a touchdown. Walker had 54 yards rushing and a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 10 catches for 110 yards. DK Metcalf, 7 for 70. For the 49ers, Brock Purdy, 159 for a touchdown and interception. Also had 40 yards rushing and a touchdown. McCaffrey, 79 yards rushing, 4 catches for 27 yards. Juwan Jennings, having a great year. 10 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Debo, 4 for 22. Not a big game out of him.
Yeah, but Debo's the guy that when you need him, he's there. Well, granted they lost, I get it, but like,
Well, like Jennings got a contract extension this offseason before
yeah,
anyone else did.
I know.
And it's starting to show why they wanted him.
Hey, we got a big play coming up real quick.
Oh yeah.
4th and 1, the Bengals against the Chargers here. Sorry. It's the very end of the first quarter. Are they going to snap the ball?
No. Never mind. Not a big play coming
They're
up.
going to timeout. All right. So, Seahawks beat the 49ers. This is big for the NFC West. It's still a wide open division.
I tell you
I
what,
think the 49ers in the end take this division, but man, the Seahawks played real well today.
the 49ers, we know they have the ability to be that sleeper team that's going to get into the like if they let's assume they take the division. They better, otherwise they might miss the playoffs. But if they take the division,
Cardinals are going to take the
like
division.
they're going to be last.
This point.
They're going to be number 4 seed, which means they're going to have a harder path through the playoffs.
Absolutely.
They have it in them to get there, but like having that harder path, that's not what they need. They need the easier path because they can win. They can be an elite team. It's all fucking there. We saw it last year. It's the same fucking team.
Yep.
Jesus, though, like they're not playing
Well,
the same
Kittle
way.
being out today hurt because
I mean, Kittle's playing so great.
He is, and the thing is, like, if you're like, okay, so they missed out on his 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. All right, yeah, that's big, but Kittle isn't just a receiving tight end.
No.
He's a big part of their run blocking also. So him being out, I think, hurts a lot more than people give credit to.
If you take, because I have him on fantasy, but he does have those games where you just alluded to 4 or 5 receptions, 70 yards, and a tutty, and those are huge. But then if you would ask the San Fran coaching staff, he has games where he has 1 reception for 8 yards,
and is more impactful.
But holy shit, he broke free so many plays where Debo or like McCaffrey or something where he just absolutely pancakes a safety to open up a lane for another 20 yards going down the field. And so, like, if you're the coach, you don't give a fuck about the fantasy stats because, like, he just laid an outside linebacker on his ass, and now the tight end's off to the now Juszczyk is off to the races.
Right. And if you want to know why Debo gets 4 catches, it's probably because there's no Kittle there hitting a block.
And what I think is so like great about Kittle is I think he would tell you, I don't care about the Pat statings if, like, I'm sure he loves getting receptions and whatnot, but he's just like, if I just sprung McCaffrey free because I had a great block,
Real fast, the Bengals are going for it on 4th and 1 against the Chargers right now. Burrow throws the ball, and to Chase, and it's a first down. Big play.
Awesome. I want to...
Did he fumble the ball?
No, he was down.
Well, you know what? Smart on the defense to return it all the way, because that way, if they haven't blown the whistle and they give him credit for the touchdown, should they say it was a fumble, they'll not get the touchdown.
I want to barbecue.
Oh, that was Higgins. Oh, shit. And Higgins hurt.
I want to barbecue with George Kittle, and I want to, like, not only we're going to, like, barbecue all day, but we're going to crush through, like a 30 rack and then crack open a bottle of booze.
Fuck yes.
That's, like, he's that kind of guy. And by the way, you're probably going to laugh the entire time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, he's down.
He's down. He's down. All right, he's down.
Yeah, he was definitely down. Yeah. All right, that is all of today's games. So we now get into Scotty Stats on FL.
That's right, the NFL, because things do happen outside of the NFL in the world of sports, and I'm here to talk about a few general things. In the meantime, I'm going to top off my little whiskey here. This is actually a Knob Creek rye. It's a Kentucky-style rye, which means generally that they only run about 51%. Legally, it's a rye. The minimum amount of rye to call it a rye. So it's going to be a lot sweeter. But also, this is a store pick from Arsenal Wine and Liquors, and it's fucking great. It's running 115 proof, and I am digging the fuck out of it. So, I do want to touch on some college football a little bit. One of the things I want to bring up is Purdue. Their wide receiver, Denylon Morissette.
Good name.
Great name.
Key and Peele name.
Great name. I'm going to repeat this. Matt's coming back in. College football. Purdue's wide receiver, Denylon Morissette, catches what would be a touchdown, but it was out of bounds. Now this was Purdue against Penn State, and when you look at the field, by the way, this is Purdue's field. Purdue's field. The end zone painted black. It's got lines, right? But then there's an extra 3 feet also painted black with another white line outside of it.
That's cheating.
He lined up. This is Purdue's wide receiver.
I know, it's dumb though.
Who lined up?
Not do that kind of extra fucking lines on
Who stood there just outside of the end zone, could have been 1 foot in and still caught the pass. There was no one around him. He was standing out of bounds when he caught it. Granted, Penn State did beat them 49-10, so it wouldn't matter. At the same time, if you're Purdue, what the fuck are you doing painting a black end zone with a white line and then an extra 3 yards of black grass? Like, what are you doing? Stop it. Dumb.
I call it dumbassery.
Dumb. The other thing I want to talk about is the college football rankings, and that is that Georgia was just gifted the number 12 seed in the most upcoming rankings. Now, they are 7-2. they have like their strength of schedule is one of the absolute toughest. Their first loss was against Alabama, who was considered the 4th seed at the time, and they lost 41-34. Their second loss was Ole Miss, who was considered a 16 seed, but they have beaten Tennessee, which is a 7 seed team, which is their most recent win, but somehow they fell in the rankings. They also beat Texas, which at the time was the number 1 team. They beat Clemson, and they fell to number 12. And the reason I bring that up is because they're running the risk of not hitting the college football playoffs.
You know what?
Because of the conference that they're in. But the number 12 team, that is Alabama, with the same record, with a worse strength of schedule, with a loss to Vanderbilt and a loss to Tennessee, their wins aren't any better against ranked teams, is number 10. Why? Because they beat Mercer last week 52-7. Georgia is getting fucked over right now, and I don't understand how these rank, especially with a 12-team college play. Now all of a sudden, somehow you're going to still squeak Alabama in?
All right,
Ridiculous.
Here's my thing.
Ridiculous.
Real fast. I just want to touch on this real fast. I, as a college football fan, and whose team is kind of shitty, I do not want to see a playoff where over half the teams are from the SEC. I'm sorry. In-conference schedule and in-conference record matters.
Now,
I don't care if you're supposedly the best conference. I don't want to see half the teams from the playoff be from one fucking conference.
Yeah. Now, all right, so here's the top 12. Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana, BYU, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia. 13 is Boise State at 8-1. 14 is SMU at 8-1. Those are some good fucking teams that I'd love to see in the playoffs, and I think because of like where their conferences are, they're likely to get there. And I think that's a part of it. It's like, so when you talk about like the big conferences, they're going to kick someone down, but it's like Georgia's better than Alabama. Same but somehow they
Georgia
got
had quite a scare.
They're better than Alabama, and they're like, I'm afraid they're going to get fucked out of that. Obviously, there's more games to go before they get there, but still, I'm worried. Okay, all right. We're gonna jump to the NBA.
Oh, this is where you wanted us to have our thoughts.
Not yet. I do
okay.
I do have one fun little before we get into that. I have one fun thing to say.
The Bulls did beat the Knicks this week.
Okay,
you're right. It was super fun.
So imagine this. Imagine there was a player.
Are you gonna make my head explode with where you're going with this?
Maybe.
Okay.
Imagine there's a player who is currently averaging more points per game than Shaq's best season. Shaq's best season was 29.67 points per game.
Was he also a center?
Imagine there's a player with more rebounds than Tim Duncan's best season at 12.9. And imagine there's a player with more assists than Chris Paul's best season at 11.6.
Is this one player?
It is one player who would actually have to play worse to match those numbers.
Are you talking this player's best season? What
I'm talking right now, this player is scoring better than those three players' best seasons.
So 10 games into a season?
Fair enough. Whatever.
Still playing really well.
Jokic
is crushing.
Putting up 29.7 points per game, 13.7 rebounds, and 11.7 assists.
This is the two-time MVP.
He is so goddamn good. Holy shit.
Can I ask you a question off this? Do you think the NBA should maybe allow a little more hand checking and shit like they did back in the 90s? Or do you think this is just the way the game is now? Don't get me wrong here. I do think Jokic is easily top 3 all-time passing for his position.
Yeah.
Rebounding, you have to put him up there. Scoring, he's up there.
I think the reality is
defensive, he's not as good of a player.
You can talk when you want to talk about like how good someone is, like will you put hand checking in, but whatever. The reality is he's playing today's game and he's playing it lights out and he's playing it at levels of I'm sorry, Shaq, Duncan, Paul. Those are the numbers that he's putting up are insane.
You just name some guys that are at least all right. Paul, where do you put him in top point guards of all time? Where do you rank him?
Top point guards of all time is tough.
Is he in the top 10?
He might not be in the top 10, but when it comes into top assists, he's pretty incredible.
Don't get me wrong. Shaq is top 2 to 3 centers of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Rebounding,
Are you kidding me? I gotta work tomorrow.
Tim Duncan. Listen,
Yeah, yeah.
they say he's a power forward. I say he should have been a center the whole time, but he wasn't. He was a power forward.
Right.
I will not take anything away from someone
Yeah.
that is out
Right.
rebounding Tim Duncan's best season.
All right.
Because Tim Duncan did all the fundamental shit. That's why he was.
That was just a fun little thing. So in the middle of my segment, I'm going to do a mini segment, and if I'm going to do a mini segment, I have to have a mini whiskey. So I'm going to crack open this little mini Elijah Craig while I explain the way this is going to go. I've got these 4 topics I'm going to bring up, and between Eric and Matt,
And up Greg, who showed up late.
if he would like to, he's welcome to. But one of you has to say, I take the other side. Because this segment, my mini segment with my mini Elijah Craig, is called, I don't think this matters to me. But why does it matter to you?
Okay.
Okay? So I'm going to give you a preview of what I'm talking about, and you need to say, your position will be why this matters to you.
Can Matt and I convene for 2 seconds at the end of what you're going to?
If you want to decide on it, fair enough.
Take a stance.
Okay. So even this past week, even without their starting forward, this team became the 6th team in the NBA history to win their first 14 games. The first team to do it since the 2015 Golden State Warriors.
It's
Also-
it's the Cavaliers.
Also, in this game that they got their 14 win streak, they scored a franchise-leading 49 points in the first quarter.
I say it's a big deal for the Cavaliers to do this.
You say it's a big deal for the Cavaliers to do it.
I do.
So I will say this. The reason I think it doesn't matter to me is no one fucking cares about Cleveland right now. And I'm speaking about more casual fans than like someone who's been watching the game. Like no one cares about Cleveland right now. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, they won't until it's time to play them in a meaningful game, and they get trounced because Cleveland has a squad.
By the way,
And I couldn't even really name one player off the Cleveland team.
By the way, I haven't even looked today. I'm not even sure if they've already played or they haven't. Their game today is against Charlotte, which would put them in the rarefied air of 4 teams going 15-0 with a win.
They beat Charlotte 128 to 114.
There we go. They're
14-0.
now 15-0. So here's how crazy this is. Here's how crazy this is. We're gonna go from teams that have done 12-0.
Darius Garland, 25 points, 12 assists, and 5 rebounds today. Mobley, 23 points and 11 rebounds.
Mobley was out last game when I said that.
Jerome,
Yeah.
24 points, 2
Yeah.
rebounds, 8 assists.
They
They have a squad, man. They've had a lot of early picks.
they've got such fun.
And
Jared
they do
Allen, their
well.
center, is
and
awesome.
Garland was a pick a couple years ago that everyone was kind of
he was
yeah,
out of,
but it wasn't.
he was out of Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He was the one dressed in the very weird outfit the same
yeah,
year
yeah.
that the Grizzlies took Jean Morant.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh, yeah, well, Garland's not as good as Morant. Well, Garland's having a
No,
pretty
he's
fucking
great.
good year.
So here's these teams that have the teams that have the best start ever. 12-0, the 82 Seattle SuperSonics. That's got to be a Sean Kemp. I don't know for sure.
It's not. That's too early for.
It's
Sean
too early
Kemp.
for him.
It was
Okay.
82.
All right. 12-0 Chicago Bulls 96 season.
Oh, not very much happened there other than 72 and 8, I believe, and a championship.
They still also only did 12-0 though. Boston Celtics 14-0 in 57.
I don't know for sure, but I'm willing to bet they won the championship.
Good chance back then. 14-0 Dallas Mavericks in 02.
They did not win the championship.
No, they
They
did
did
not,
not.
but they had a great team that year.
Well, the Cavs are now
Was that Nowitzki?
probably
I
02
didn't- what do
probably.
you think?
And point guard that ended up with the Suns later on?
Nash.
Nash
No.
also?
Yeah, probably.
Nash was on the Mavs.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They were a
Yeah.
fun team to watch.
Keep
with
in mind
Nash
because
and
Nash
Jokic
it is like the height of his
Nowitzki.
powers. I was in middle school. I didn't know he played
Yeah.
for the Mavs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he
So-
had some good years.
All right.
in there.
All right.
So Cavs are now upper echelon of 15-0, where they also fall with the Washington Capitals from 48, the Houston Rockets from 93. That's an Olajuwon team.
Ooh, Elijah
And
Wan had some squads.
possibly a Drexler in 93.
Maybe
Possibly.
maybe in the year before Drexler got there.
Uh,
No. That was the year with Drexler, I think, because I think it was 94, 95, 96 that the Bulls won. So
Okay.
93, I think would have been Olajuwon with Drexler.
Okay, right. And then the next jump,
Which, by the way, is a championship team.
right, the next jump is 24-0 Golden State Warriors from 15. So, that was the year the Warriors went 73-9.
Here's what
so.
I will say in this. I think it does matter. And even for nothing else, it matters to Cleveland. The
Right?
Browns are terrible.
Terrible, man.
The Guardians
We missed a
had
Chargers score.
decent year.
They had a
But
very
was that
good
Quentin
year.
Johnson with a touchdown? Hold on one second, y'all. We are watching the Chargers replay. I missed it. Oh, yeah, number 1, Quentin Johnson going deep, open down on the left, and Herbert nailed that
Boom.
pass. Herbert's
Yep.
such a good player.
And boom.
And Quentin Johnson, by the way, huge mistake of a first-round pick, starting to look like he can play in the league.
Yep.
Good for a fucking
Last
Chargers,
year,
man.
I had
But-
him as my rookie of the year.
You did.
Like, it didn't pan out.
And he
but,
panned out as one of the worst
but
rookie
the-
wide receivers ever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you cannot become
Yeah.
better.
People
But the,
change.
but the point you're making about why it does actually matter, and I know I was going to take the opposite point of, but like, no
It
one
does
cares.
matter.
No one right now, like casual fans don't care about Cleveland because they don't have a superstar. But the reality is, their squad is so fucking good without this one singular superstar. They are really fun. They are a terrifyingly good squad.
They
And
are.
they've been building to this for a while. And guess what? They're probably going to be the same team next year. They're nuts.
All right, let me take a shot at option
We gotta-
number
we
two.
gotta-
I was
we
like,
gotta-
we're going to be here till the cows come
We
home.
got to roll on. All right. So the next one is this. We have a new entrant into the 12,000 assist club
Chris Paul.
who is on pace to knock off Jason Kidd from number 2. By the way, someone else is likely to also knock off Jason Kidd this year for the number 2 spot.
Chris Paul. I'm guessing.
Well, I say it doesn't matter that someone's about to knock off Jason Kidd from the number 2 spot this year, and it doesn't matter that Jason Kidd's going to fall to number 4 by the end of the season. Who wants to take it? Why it does matter.
Assist-wise, because this is such a heavy create your own shot, create your own bucket. There's not pure passing like there used to be back in the 90s or maybe the early 2000s.
Or the 80s.
Or the early 80s. You get some guys like James Harden. This isn't an indictment on Steph Curry, but you get past the half-court line and you come off of a pick and you're jacking up threes, which is okay because that's part of the way the game is. But there's not like pick-and-roll passing like there used to be. There's not just
Yeah.
finding a guy in the inside. That's why that matters.
So Chris Paul is 80 assists away from Jason Kidd's 12,091.
But before you finish making your point, I guess moving in space doesn't matter like it did in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, it seems like.
So Chris Paul's about to not like he's 80 assists away from Jason Kidd's 12,091. And by the way, LeBron James is less than 100 assists away from Jason Kidd.
Right, but half of
So-
those are out the backboard to himself.
I thought you were taking the point that it matters.
No.
It does matter.
Here's the crazy thing.
I'm sorry.
Chris Paul's assists, like
No,
I think are getting overshadowed by his lack of championships.
Here's the thing, though. Jason Kidd, how many championships did he have?
None, right?
Yes. That's why it matters. I'm sorry. When you are knocking someone out of the second place overall, and I believe John Stockton is number 1 overall with assists, correct?
15,800.
Yes.
Number 2 is 12,091.
Which gives you a good sign of how good John Stockton was. But also, I want to point out, Jason Kidd, his shooting ability was not very good for most of his career, but he was still able to set people up and dish it off to where they could get a scoring opportunity. If you have a player that is capable of putting those assists out there where they can overtake Jason Kidd, who I do think is one of the greatest point guards we've ever watched,
Yeah.
even if it's not scoring the ball, his ability to see the court, to control the offense, and to get the points necessary. Yes, he may not have won a championship, but he was such a good floor general.
Kidd
I
got
think
a
it's
ring.
huge. Who do you get a ring with?
2011 with the Mavs.
Did he?
Oh, okay. All right.
Good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him.
They beat
listen,
the Heat.
I will say this: my minor little point, and I'm having fun with it. My minor little point why it doesn't matter is Chris Paul still not going to get a ring. but I do think that he is one of the elite passers of all time.
He is.
And he just found himself on the wrong side of these teams that were going to
I
win.
agree. And as far as LeBron
He made
James
every
goes with
team
that,
better.
Listen, you can have a discussion over who is the best player of all time. And I am willing to hear arguments from anyone that wants to put it out there. You could say Bill Russell was the best player of all time based on championships. I am willing to hear the argument for any player that is within reason for why they are the best of all time. LeBron James, whether you want to say it's through longevity of career, style of offense he was in, players he played with a lot of very good players. I'm sorry, has played with and is still playing with a lot of very good players.
Roddy Jr.
No. But he has played with fantastic players. He's had a great squad around him a lot of times. Now, don't get me wrong. There was times in Cleveland, especially when he was younger, where he was the reason that they were winning, and he was still averaging close to a triple-double.
Both times in Cleveland, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well-
I don't want to take anything away from LeBron James. It's a different discussion of greatest of all time, but when you discuss the passing ability, if you're talking about a small forward, he is the best small forward of all time at this point. I'm sorry to Larry Bird truthers. I love the man. He was fantastic. It was a different style of game. You can make that argument.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James, 20 years in the league? More than. He's averaging 7 or 8 assists a game for his career.
So I only pulled up
It's
the
an
top.
amazing stat.
It's weird. I only pulled up the top 9. I'm not sure why I grabbed top 9, but the top 9 is currently this: John Stockton, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, LeBron James, Steve Nash, Mark Jackson, Magic Johnson, Oscar Robinson, Russell Westbrook. There are point guards and a point forward.
Yep.
But that being said, this was really about Chris Paul. Chris Paul, one of the greatest passers of all time.
Chris Paul does not get the credit he deserves for how good he has been in the league.
But also,
A lot of people will say also
Right.
he's an excellent point guard.
just before he gets to 3, you have to keep in mind Chris Paul went into an expansion franchise in New Orleans too. So he was playing.
No, he
already.
didn't.
Oh, that was already an existing franchise.
Yes.
Okay.
Larry Johnson with Muggsy Bogues.
Oh.
And center came out
They
of
were
Georgetown.
they were the
How about
tough
this?
motherfucker. Played for the Heat also.
He went into
Why
a.
is his name escaping me?
Lon-
Alonzo Mourning.
Alonzo Mourning, yeah.
No,
Maybe he went into a NOLA team that sucked. Is that plausible?
he may have, but
Okay.
All right.
at the same time,
All right,
Chris
let's go-
Paul
let's go
is
3.
a
All right.
fantastic point guard. I think he deserves to go down as one of the greatest of all
All right.
time.
I'm going to do one more. I got one
Okay.
more.
All right. 'cause
Okay.
Are we
I still
running
got-
this for you?
I got
No, not at all. Not at all. The all-time three-point leaderboard is about to shift because right now there's currently a tie at number 2.
Oh.
There's currently a tie with Ray Allen,
Whoa!
which means one more made three-point from this active player is going to push him into the number 2 spot of all time.
Steph.
And I say this doesn't matter. Who would like to tell me why I'm wrong?
Because the game has changed so much.
No. Just who wants to take the point? Who wants to argue against me that this doesn't matter, that this player is going to take over number 2 against Ray Allen?
Because Ray Allen had the biggest 3 of all time in the finals.
You're taking it?
Yeah.
Ready for this?
Matt will chip in too, but
Ready for
Ray,
this?
Ray Allen had the biggest 3 of all time in the finals.
No. I'm saying...
Or
that-
so did.
my point is this. This person is about to overtake Ray Allen, and I say it doesn't matter. Are you saying that it does matter?
No, I'm saying
That's
Ray,
the game. Are you taking this or
It
not?
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I'll say it will.
Doesn't matter. James Harden is currently tied with Ray Allen.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Ray Allen has had. James Harden has never had a bigger 3 than Ray Allen.
James Harden
There we go.
has been the primary scorer / assist maker / rebounder on multiple teams. While with the Rockets, I will say primarily, because while he was with Oklahoma City, it didn't matter because he had so many other players around him. Specifically when he was with Houston, I think it truly does matter because he was such a focal point for that entire team. They would not have done anything for at least 3 of those seasons without Harden playing.
Yeah.
I think Harden is getting a bit of numbers shock because of the fact that offense and the way the defensive penalties are being called right now in the NBA for the last 10 years or so has changed so much that it does matter.
Let me know
because
when Ray
Harden is
Allen
having
hits,
a massive impact.
Let me know when Ray Allen hits a 3 as time expires in Game 6 of the
Not
finals.
Ray Allen.
All right.
James Harden.
Let me know when James Harden
right.
hits a 3 as time expires in Game 6 of the finals to force a Game 7 that they won.
Yeah,
Right.
but okay, let me know when James Harden plays on a team like Ray Allen did, where he has 2 surefire Hall of Famers playing with him.
Kevin Durant and Kyrie in New Jersey.
Not
Oh,
past
God.
their prime. Sir.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
The
If
New
I wanted
Jersey-
to know how they played when they were using canes
No, the
to walk
fucking
around,
the fucking
I would
Nets
ask for
experiment.
it.
How dare you bring up the Nets experiment? That was it. So all right,
He wanted to go there.
okay. So all right,
I'm willing to at least make the argument
Right.
that James Harden deserves credit for this.
okay.
He
So
does.
so James Harden does get trashed on quite a bit, but I'll say this about him:
He looks ugly as fuck without a beard.
He actually,
Did he
yeah, that's
shave?
true.
No,
No,
that
that
beard, yeah, he was ugly
okay.
as fuck.
All right.
But
So-
that man needed a beard. He
So-
should have been the happiest man ever that beards became a cool thing.
He played a
More
style.
than me and Scott.
He played a style of basketball that was Moneyball, and people didn't like it, but he was good at playing that style.
He was.
He was actually great at playing that style, and it made people mad because like we don't want to watch it. However, so he is currently tied with Ray Allen, in his 16th season, and behind him is Damian Lillard in his 13th season, then Reggie Miller at 18, and then Klay Thompson at 12 seasons. And I said 12 seasons because he pretty much didn't play for 2 seasons. But those are the top 6. So then I did a per 18 because if both Ray Allen and Reggie Miller played 18 seasons, I did a per 18. And how many actual 3 points would be made in 18 seasons? Steph Curry, who's already number 1, who is averaging 236 3-pointers a year, is, if he sticks with that, is projected at over 4,000 3-pointers. Okay. Which means that Ray Allen, who only did 2,973 3-pointers, which means give 2 more seasons, arguably, James Harden could hit 3,300. But Damian Lillard could hit 36. Reggie Miller is at 2,500, but Klay Thompson has the ability to hit 37. So if it plays out based on your 3 points per year, if it stays the same, Klay Thompson could arguably be number 2 to Damian Lillard number 3, and then James Harden number 4. But also James Harden has the absolute worst percentage. So while he has the volume, that was the game he had to play, but I also think he's about to get lapped. So while he's going to take out Ray Allen, we're experiencing the new NBA. And what Ray Allen and what Reggie Miller did were greater than what James Harden is doing now, because of the style of game
But
that
you're
was played
preaching
back
to the
then.
choir.
Right. Reggie Miller had a better shot percentage. So did Ray Allen. Jesus Christ, was shooting is third behind Steph and Klay in terms of shooting percentage. So
Okay.
the style of game is why Ray Allen is gonna like drop down the list.
Listen, it's 9:30. We still got to do streaks and picks.
Yes, we do.
Keep
yes, we do.
going.
Yes, we do.
All right. Can I do my streaks?
Yes, please do your streak.
Okay. I didn't know we were going to be doing this much basketball talk. So
Yeah,
I'll try
it's
to.
fine. It's
all
fine.
So, I have just 3, and we can gloss through these pretty quick.
3, Jesus. Okay.
All right. Steelers are 1 win away from 21 winning seasons in a row, which would be an NFL record. They are currently tied with the 65 to 85 Cowboys. They play the Browns on Thursday. I think they could feasibly surpass the Cowboys on that, and they will have the most winning seasons in a row.
Steelers most winning season.
Steelers are 1 win away from 21 winning seasons in a row, which if they beat the Browns this Thursday, they will surpass the boys who had 20 winning. Matt, I can regurgitate this quick.
You're going to have to.
Steelers are 1 win away from 21 winning seasons in a row, which
Okay.
would be an NFL record. It would surpass the 65 to 85 Cowboys. They're playing the Browns on Thursday. I think they'll cement that they're going to do that. All right.
You're saying the Steelers win this Thursday?
Yes.
But that I got it, man. I got it.
Okay.
got
So
I captured
the
it.
Lions have a rushing TD in the last 24 games. Also, longest in NFL history. That will continue versus the Colts on Sunday.
Hold on, what was it? Lions have
Lions have a rushing TD in the last 24 games, longest in NFL history. They're playing the Colts on Sunday. I think that will continue. For a single player stat, Evan Ingram has had the third game in a row with 5 receptions or more with less than 50 yards. That will continue this upcoming weekend versus the Texans.
What is that?
Evan Ingram
Yeah.
has this is his third game in a row with 5 receptions or more, but less than 50 yards.
Yep.
That will continue versus the Texans.
Okay.
Those are my streaks.
All right. Squeak streaks! Okay.
All right.
Just the worst.
I have just the best.
Can I do my just the worst real fast first?
You probably
Actually,
should.
no. Do the just the worst.
Fair
or
enough.
just the best. I'll do my
Fair
just
enough.
the best. Just the worst after.
My just the best is a follow up to what we talked about last week because Kirk Herbstreit's dog Ben passed away, who was a big part of College Game Day. This week, he brought his other golden retriever,
Good for him.
a much younger, very puppyish Peter. Brought it to the UGA game and got to hang out with Uga, the
So-
UGA bulldog. And Peter is just a bouncy, interested in everything. Doesn't walk off leash very much.
That's okay.
But you know what? Like he
And what was the other dog's name?
Ben that passed away.
Can I just say that I love the normal person names for your dog?
Some people
Ben
hate it.
and Peter.
Some people hate it.
I don't.
But it's,
I think
but
it's
like,
great.
Yeah.
My girlfriend has she has 3 beagles, 2 that she adopted when they were 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
Tess and Sprout. But she also has one that is 13 years old now. His name is Jim. Jim
Yeah.
Boeheim.
Jim
That's what
Boeheim.
she named him.
Jim Boeheim.
But you know what? I love the human name for your dog. I like it.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that Herb Street stuck with it
But-
and gave his fucking second dog another human name.
But what I thought was just the best was last week. Like we all had a cheers for Ben Herbstreit.
As
Who was-
is needed.
Absolutely, who was a big part of College Game Day, and it was a special moment. And then Kirk brings Peter in, and instead of it being this like chill because he's younger, you know, he was fun, he was bouncy, he hung out with. It was against for the Georgia game. So Uga's there, like the bulldog. He got to like interact with the bulldog, and I was like, we needed that moment.
Yes.
We had a heartbreaking week last week.
Yes.
And we had this touching moment this week. Hell yes. Hell yes. Thank you, Kirk, for bringing your dogs into our life, and it's making us better.
I agree.
Just the best.
100%.
Just the best.
That is
Yeah.
just the best because
Yeah.
no one likes anything more than a good goddamn dog. Fucking great. For just the worst, I'm going to Brian Kelly. For those of you who don't know, Brian Kelly was the coach for Cincinnati before he left to go to be the head coach at Notre Dame. When he left Notre Dame, after losing a bowl game, he called his team and texted them late at night to show up at like a 7 a.m. fucking meeting to tell them he was quitting that job and going to LSU. Which, number one, this
Low.
is shameful.
That's low.
You don't ask your players to show up early as fuck in the morning to tell them you're leaving.
Yeah.
It's dog shit. It's a
A-
fucking shitty move.
After a loss.
After a loss, yes.
After a loss. Yeah.
He then goes to LSU. Used a fake accent at first with LSU to try to fucking somehow score points. Didn't with me. I thought it was trash. This year, they suck. They just lost their 3rd straight game. They lost to Florida, who was currently unranked after losses.
Yeah.
Florida's so bad.
Yes. During the game,
Wait,
started screaming at one wide receiver.
Definitely not Florida State, although I did hear they lost to the bye this week.
Ooh, nice. One of his wide receivers came off the field after a play against Florida, where he went up for the pass, was unable to catch it, got hit a little bit during the catch, but couldn't come down with it. And Brian Kelly on the sideline. The cameras actually decided to take the time and see what he said. And it was along the lines of, You are fucking uncoachable. Who do you think you are trying to walk away from me? As the guy barely just turned his fucking shoulders and head as being screamed at, and Brian Kelly decided to unleash that on him. Later on, in another quarter, in the next quarter, another wide receiver started wide out. They show footage of him screaming towards Brian Kelly. Took Brian Kelly a second to figure out what was going on. You see his eyes open wide, and he starts yelling, and then they pan off and show something else instead of showing that interaction, which I would have loved to have seen, because if your star wideout is yelling, something has happened. Mm-hmm. And I want to see how that coach reacts to that. Mm-hmm. Instead, they pan away, so you don't get to see it. So I get to see him yelling at one player who did jump up, just mistimed his jump. It comes off the field, he gets screamed at, and is told he's fucking uncoachable, was exactly what mouth readers said was being said to him. I'm sorry. Brian Kelly at Notre Dame could get the 9 or 10 win season and be perfectly okay and go through the rest of his career with no issues. It's fine. Because it's a team that doesn't actually play in a division, doesn't have to go against SEC constantly or that. They choose what their schedule is. Mm-hmm. That's fine. You don't get to just act like a fucking little asshole every time something doesn't go your way and the players can't come down with the big plays you need.
You decided to step up.
You did.
Don't get me wrong. Notre Dame puts
big time.
They're
SEC
big time.
is bigger.
SEC because they have that conference.
And all I could see when I watched him yelling at these players, and it does piss me off because this is a man who, again, called Notre Dame's players, the entire team, to a 7 a.m. meeting to tell them he had taken a job with another team and was leaving. You don't get to act like that because the entire thing I saw when I saw him acting that way was, oh, he's an angry elf.
He's an angry
That
elf.
little short fucker. Fuck that guy. Brian Kelly. Just the worst.
Just the worst.
Just the worst.
I'm not the worst. Wow.
Any thoughts on just the worst while you're chewing on fucking nerds over there, sir?
Yeah.
Please continue. It sounds very interesting as you chew more on your fucking nerds.
I'm glad you're prepared.
Glad you got fully prepared and waited for us to do this segment.
What? So, my just the worst is Dabo Sweeney.
Can you not cover your mouth and actually talk into the microphone while
All
you're
right.
talking?
Dabo Sweeney is just the
Paris
worst
probably kind of showed
Why
up.
is Dabo Sweeney just the worst?
because he still refuses to adjust to NIL and the transfer portal.
And that is an issue on his part that he needs to fucking accept.
Clemson was an absolute powerhouse, and they're slipping. And I'll tell you what, SMU is in the rankings, and they've got billionaires in their corner, and SMU's now fucking ACC. Holy shit. You got a Texas team in the
Better watch
ACC.
out.
You better watch out.
No, I just I think it's a reality that for the foreseeable future, money's gonna be involved in college football, and
As it should be.
and that's not wrong, Matt. But just the fact that Dabo Sweeney is just, I'm gonna choose to stick my head in the sand, and I won't get with the times. He is going to handicap that program. Maybe not in a way that's not recoverable, but whoever coaches Clemson next is going to be fucked because of it.
So I hate bringing it back to basketball, but college basketball, Tony Bennett in Virginia.
Well, he left. He's done.
He stepped aside.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know how to coach in this environment.
And that's okay to say.
Right.
You can admit that.
He was a team builder. He wanted guys that were going to be there 3-4 years. That's what he did.
That's
and he
not
built
what it is anymore.
He built some great.
But also, Saban did the same thing.
So he
Saban
said,
was I don't. This
Yep.
this is past me, and that's okay.
He stepped aside. He goes, this isn't for me. Tony Bennett was a great fucking coach.
He
Dabo
coached some
Sweeney.
super cool.
Dabo Sweeney was a really good coach. And if you want to stay a good coach, you either adapt or die.
Yeah.
And he's dying.
Clemson's falling off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
worst worst.
Any other just the worst this week?
Jesus Christ, that's enough. We're going crazy long.
You sure?
I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's say I do pick.
All right. First game. Eric already picked his. He said Pittsburgh's going to beat the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh going to Cleveland. Myself, I say Pittsburgh.
The way Pittsburgh played today, my God, I'm also Pittsburgh because they were just that good.
Okay.
Well,
That's Thursday.
that's Thursday.
Going into Sunday, the Dallas Cowboys travel to Washington to take on their hated rivals. This was Cooper Rush at quarterback, and the Commies coming off of a loss against the Eagles. Where I think they're gonna be a little angry. I think that
Cowboys.
the Commies win that game.
Put me down for the Cowboys.
Really?
Okay, Cowboys.
Just
for
I need to
Eric.
get some.
Matt, I got it.
frisky
You don't have to
ones.
mark it. I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I got it right here. Yeah.
Okay.
So
You're thinking fantasy.
Well, I'm using our Brian's little system.
fair.
I'll send it to him. Feel free. Yeah, so.
All right, who are you thinking?
Oh, I'm Washington on this one. Washington is already the better team, and I'm sorry, but Cooper Rush I think can do a good job at quarterback. But even with Dak there, I think Washington would still win. So
All right. Detroit goes to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. I am sorry, but I don't see any way that anyone other than Detroit wins this game.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. The Chiefs go to Carolina.
Jeez.
My good God.
Kansas City.
I mean, across the board, right? We're all like, there's no doubt about it. It's KC, right?
Yeah.
I gotta ask though. Brian does hate KC.
He picked Kansas City.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. The Vikings go to Chicago to take on the Bears. I'll be honest with you.
Vikings.
I know the Bears just lost a heartbreaker. I know the last time they lost a heartbreaker, it had nothing good going for them. I said the Bears win this game.
Yeah, put me
I don't
down
know
for the
why.
Bears too.
I don't know how, but I said the Bears find a way to eke this out.
Okay.
They need one. They deserve one.
Matt, I am sorry to say this.
You're taking Minnesota. Good
I'm taking
one,
Minnesota because I'm taking Brian Flores.
All right.
Put me down for the Bears.
I did already.
All right.
New England Patriots travel to Miami.
Oh.
Jesus
Miami.
Christ.
I'm saying the Miami Dolphins win this game. I don't
yeah.
know why. I don't know how.
I don't know.
No, the Dolphins are the better team. They've been struggling. New England might be looking nicer, but Miami's offense, if they can put it together, Miami needs this. Holy shit, they need this. Their defense is good.
It's not gonna matter.
Miami needs this so bad.
Oh, just so you know, coming into this week, we were at Scott and I at 94 correct picks, Brian at 88, and Eric at 84. So far this week, Scott has 7 correct picks. I have 6. Brian has 8 correct picks, and Eric, dealing with the coin toss app we use,
Yeah.
Have
has
4?
4.
Yeah.
Eric,
Why
who
am
did
I
you pick
surprised?
for this week?
Why am I not
What
surprised?
do you pick for New England and Miami, Eric?
Put me down for Miami.
All right. Okay, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to New Jersey to take on the Giants. Is Mike Evans back? I don't know. I'm going to say he is, and I say the Buccaneers find a way to win against a team they should win against. Also, interestingly,
Aaron Rodgers.
Daniel Jones may not be playing this game because of a injury risk deal within his contract. That
Yeah.
says if he gets hurt, they owe him like another $26 million.
Yeah.
For that reason alone,
Yeah.
I say that the Giants don't take any risks and the Buccaneers win it.
I'm going for Tampa also. I think even with Daniel Jones, I think even like Mike Evans out, even if Mike Evans was out, you know what I mean? It's
It's tough.
I-
By the
it's-
way, Evans needs like 665
It
yards
hurts.
catching over the
He's-
next 7 games to get
That's
1,000
he's
yards
I know it. He's
to tie Jerry Jones.
He's-
Jerry Rice.
Jerry-
He's
Jones.
Jerry Jones. Goddamn.
Wow. I'm sorry. I spoke about a fucking sea monster that's old as fuck. Jerry Rice is the fucking thing that we want to see him eating. Okay, the Titans travel to Houston to take on the Texans. Brian and I both say the Texans win that game.
Yeah. No, I'm Houston all day on that one.
Okay. Houston also
Yeah.
there? Okay. The Broncos travel to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. I say Broncos win.
Broncos.
All right, we are just picking across the board on this one. I'm Denver also.
Okay. Listen,
yeah.
if there was one that I could fucking really make an argument against, I would. But the Broncos are playing really well
But-
right now.
Yeah.
And the Raiders are playing terrible.
The Raiders. I don't know how the Raiders scoring on Denver doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how that works. Denver can just shut them down.
Yes.
Because the Vegas has no offense.
Denver's defense is fucking fantastic.
Denver just needs to march up the field 6 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus.
Okay,
Low-
Arizona
low scoring,
Cardinals
but no
versus the
win.
Seattle Seahawks. I'm not going to lie to you.
Cardinals.
I'm taking the Cardinals in this one. I think Kyler Murray
God damn it.
and Marvin Harrison Jr.
It's a weak slate.
are
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
I think they overcome any other issues, and I think Connor at running back for the Cardinals actually is a difference.
And I don't care that Seattle won. You had a
Some
nice win
wild
over
picks,
San
'cause I had
Francisco,
to.
but
Yeah.
To get back in the
Arizona's
mix.
Arizona's
Ah,
nice.
you're going with the Cardinals, okay?
Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers traveling to Green Bay. I'm going with the 49ers.
Green Bay.
Fuck Green Bay.
It's not a wild pick, but I need to get back in the
I was
mix.
gonna go there.
Scotty?
Oh, I'm San Fran. I'm San Fran. They sucked this today. They should they. I need to see him. I need to see him come back. I need to see him come back. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
All right,
Yeah.
the Eagles travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams next Sunday night. I'm saying the Eagles win this game.
Tell you what,
Put me down for LA because, once again,
you're not
Where do you
wrong.
think that?
You're not wrong.
We're
I
insane.
yeah.
I feel like Philadelphia has like they've finally won me over. But I'm almost coin flip on this one. Like I would love to see the Rams because their offense is so
I
nice.
just think this could be like one of those Jalen Hurts 3 horrible interception games.
And-
Eagles or Rams?
That's what I'm doing.
Give me the Eagles.
All right.
Give me the Eagles. But like I'm so on the fence on this one.
All right, then Monday night, the Ravens travel to LA to take on the Chargers.
I don't care how good the Chargers are looking right now.
I think the Ravens are furious.
Dude.
And I think they win the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Put me down for the Chargers.
All right.
And you're for the Rams, Scotty?
I'm for Baltimore. The Rams, no. Like as I said, as nice as they're looking, I don't see how the
The
fucking
Ravens,
Baltimore
I'm
loses
sorry.
this. Yeah, Ravens.
I'm sorry. I think the Ravens are furious, and I don't think they lose that
Mm-hmm.
game. Last thoughts on this week so far for me. I want to say again, I think the NFL is in a good place
Yeah.
as far
Yeah.
as young
Yeah.
quarterbacks starting to find their way in the system. I think we're going to start seeing some of these teams start having more luck with the young quarterback. I think that they're really starting to find their footing. I think it's important.
Yep.
It's hard to find. It's difficult in the NFL. It's a far different game than the NCAA.
Even like the second year kids, right? Like this is not the best year for Houston. From what last year to this
No,
year,
but-
we expected a step forward. Granted, there's been some injuries at the receiver position, but it's kind of nice to see the second year kids, as you expect their seasons to go well. They're struggling, but they're growing. Anthony Richardson,
Absolutely.
this is one game back from his little time out in the corner. I would like to see him like playing this same way, like a little humbled, and then but like know that you've got the skills instead of playing all like I'm the best out there. I am really liking what I'm seeing from the quarterback play because it definitely felt like we were about to hit a gulf. Like we watched all these
Absolutely.
elite quarterbacks move their way through, or the ones that were really good take their steps down, you know, and like just so because like we see like Flacco still out there playing, and and it's not. It's good to see him out there, but at the same time, like you're not what you were, you know,
And you're not the future for your squad.
and you're not the
either.
future for your squad, you know, like so. But like we like a few years ago, like Flacco was one of the guys.
Yep.
He was. So to see like these new kids come up feels great. It feels like we're going to be in good hands. That we're about to have a new squad of quarterbacks coming in. It also feels a little weird, like some of the ones that got a bad shake. Maybe they can find purchase somewhere else. I don't know. Baker Mayfield.
So I need to
You
ask
know?
you though, you being a Giants fan,
Yeah.
all the rumors coming out of New York right now is that Daniel Jones, unless injuries occur, will not be on the field again. Do you think it's actually all his fault, or
No,
do you think that
You've heard me say it for years. Daniel Jones was never the problem. He wasn't the answer. He wasn't the solution. But he was never the problem. His offensive line was terrible. His wide receiver core was ridiculous.
well, and this year losing his all-pro left tackle did him no favors.
Right. And by the way, when he was there, things were looking better
Pretty
for the Giants.
good.
Exactly. When you give him time, actually, he's a very accurate passer.
Yeah,
Very
and
accurate
far
passer.
more athletic than you think.
He's
This is
he's
the man that hit like 23 miles per hour on a fucking quarterback sprint when he broke out of the pocket once.
Yeah,
Like, this
and
is a guy that is athletic.
and then he tripped over his own feet, and everyone's like, "What a
Okay.
loser!" And it's like at 23 miles an hour, he tripped
Jesus
over
Christ,
his own feet.
if I hit 14 miles an hour, I would trip over my feet. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't think he was worth $40 million, but I understand that's the way the quarterback market was going. But there's so many other problems with the Giants. Daniel Jones wasn't the issue. If you wanna like blame it on him and find someone else, go ahead. But there's so much else you have to build around that, like, great. So you found one problem and you say this is the hole to fill. Great. But what about all the rest of them?
Yep.
Right? The Bears bringing in Caleb Williams wasn't the solution. There was other things to work on. In the process of getting Caleb Williams, they did add more to the O-line. They did add more weapons with the year prior, but still, like, they were making those moves before they got Caleb Williams. They're at least moving in that direction. The Giants still have more to go to move in that direction. If they stick with Daniel Jones, I don't think they need to find time for a quarterback to throw. Simple as that. Complicated as that. Let's be honest.
Complicated / simple / yeah, that's what almost every team I think would say right now.
The high level concept is simple to say. In execution, it's difficult.
It's difficult when you're trying to find time for your quarterback to throw. Like, if you don't have the... listen, offensive linemen are not easy to find. If they were, every team would have a good one.
Yep.
So it is what it is.
I will keep this much more short, but as you guys
Shorter?
know, I'm succinct. As you guys know, I love listening to Pardon My Take. They had Bruce Arians on Wednesday or Friday, and he has coached Favre, Rodgers, Brady, Kurt Warner, Carson Palmer, and Luck. And they were interviewing him about the quarterbacks, and they said, asking him about set experiences with the quarterbacks, and he was like, I can't say who was the best because Brady has the rings, and they were all kind of Hall of Famers, but he said, of the quarterbacks, when they went out on the field for the first time, I had the most faith in Andrew Luck going out there, just being prepared, and he's going to read the field, and he's going to make the right decisions. And I think that it was a career wasted, and it's such an interesting take to hear Bruce Arians, who's been like a coach of all these Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but like going out for his very first snap, Andrew Luck, I know he's not going to fuck this up. More so than Brady or any of those boys. That's interesting.
He really was a sad career wasted because... And his leg, if you see it now, is so fucked up.
No.
Jesus Christ.
But
Andrew
that's what I
Luck-
would say. And Arians is a Hall of Fame coach. He's like, he had all these boys.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Andrew Luck, when I rolled him out there for the very first time, I went,
We can win that.
like, he'll do fine.
So, I just want to touch on a little bit of what I've already said this week already. I think the young quarterbacks are actually showing that the NFL is in a good place moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's awesome. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Daniel Jones with the Giants. I think his offensive line has hamstrung him. But Jordan Love, that team is backing him up and helping him out. I think Caleb Williams, even though the team has failed him when he drives the team down to get a winning drive, is showing that he can play. Josh Allen is a young quarterback who, I guess we can't even consider him a young quarterback anymore. He's just an MVP candidate every year for now. Between him and Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and then all these young quarterbacks come up, I'm actually very excited for the future of the NFL and the quarterback position, which is not something you can say most times. It's usually, how can we find more quarterbacks? I think there's a lot of very good young quarterbacks that can really take this league forward. I'm very excited for where the league's at.
I'll say this. I think that despite the debate over the pay of running backs are fucking showing out.
Oh, they're showing exactly why they're valuable this year. Like,
Yeah.
nothing against Rico Dowdle. He's giving everything he has.
But at the same time, like, and don't get like there's players that like make you say, yeah, but
there are those
right?
standouts.
Oh,
But
look.
when you look at it, though, like the Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They paid Montgomery. They used the draft capital on Gibbs. He's getting pretty decent pay because of his draft capital. You look at the Falcons, who, yes, the Broncos beat them pretty badly today, but you know, you've got Bijan Robinson, you've got Algier. They've got a nice little stable of running backs. There are teams where you'd be like, There's running backs that are truly legitimate
Well,
this year.
But then of course
Or the Ravens. We paid the money for Derrick Henry.
but the opposite of that, like the
And
is,
also,
is
by the
in
way,
San,
the
San
Steelers,
Francisco.
Najee Harris was a first-round draft pick, and
Yeah.
Jalen Warren was an undrafted player, but he's playing with Najee Harris, who was a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, please continue.
Well, in San Francisco, where it's like, well, Christian McCaffrey's out, and then Jordan Mason steps up and kills it, and then Jordan Mason's a little injured, and then Isaac Guerrero steps up and it's killing it, and like those hurt the argument because those kids are stepping up and playing great ball. But the reality is, they're playing great ball behind a system that's really strong already.
Yes.
And when you see an elite person like Christian McCaffrey, and we're like, yeah, but look what you could be. Jordan Mason was killing it. Isaac Guerrero was killing it. And the reason they were killing it is also because there was so many other weapons out there that you could, like the running backs, just like, you're not Christian McCaffrey, we're not covering you. Until you made us realize we have to cover you.
Absolutely.
Running backs are showing out, and they
They are.
deserve to get paid.
And I'm glad.
I'm glad
They
too.
earn the money.
Hell
They
yeah.
deserve it.
Oh, more than anyone else in a lot of ways.
Okay. Any last thoughts on this week's games or anything
Jesus,
before we end
let's
this
end it.
very long 2-hour
Yeah, I know,
show?
yeah.
By the way, thank you for listening, by the way. We are After This Live. We're available on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We are here every Sunday night
not leaving.
on YouTube, as well as we live stream our recording of this process. We want you guys to come and join in and let us know if you have any thoughts. We're very happy to hear anything you have to say. It'd be fantastic for y'all to get and join in this. Oh, use the damn Packers koozie. No, Brian, I will not. It's on the other side of the fucking garage.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Brian, there will be penalties issued, no doubt about it.
I don't give a shit. Make me drink a fucking fugly sweater.
How
You can't do
dare
anything
you.
that will actually fucking hurt me.
You don't-
More than the Bears' loss on a fucking blocked field goal will. I don't give a fuck.
Boo-hoo.
There will
Everything
be
you've
penalties
done to
issued.
it.
Well, that's
And
all.
I will accept them.
Okay.
But you know what? That koozie is somewhere on the other side of the garage, and I don't know where it's at now.
Fair enough.
I'll take the penalty. I don't give a shit.
Oh, I see it.
Sorry, I don't. I don't care. Today, I was not in the mood. I've
Okay,
had
Bears
too
up.
many fucking weird ass stupid losses.
But with that, we are Half the Distance Live.
We always are.
We are live at 8 o'clock on Sundays,
Every Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time.
Eastern Time. We're on the YouTubes. You can catch us on the Spotify's and the Apple Podcasts.
Also,
could
if you would like a little extra
Yes.
from our thoughts and our processes, I have my Straight Facts Homie podcast I
Straight
do during the week.
Facts.
At some point in the next couple weeks, I'll get one of these people to be on this podcast with me.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a lot of fun, actually. We'll discuss whatever we think is interesting during the week. Because shit happens that are not on Sundays that I
True,
find
true.
interesting. I'd love to have one of these guys on the show with me. I hope I can get him to at least find a way to join me because it's super fun. I have a great time recording that. And
We
if I
are
get one of these
all in
guys with
walking
us,
distance.
it'd be great. Also,
I bet you
they
have
all live within about a 4-minute walk
gonna say,
from my house.
but-
And that's the longest walk that anyone can claim, by the way.
We're within shouting distance.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, if you want some real news here?
You're gonna
You want to
try
know
this.
how close we are? I could be like, "What's your name?" And one of them will have to respond because they can hear me. That's how close we are. All right, listen. We are Half This is Live. Thank you very much for listening to us this weekend. I am Matty Fax, joined as always by Scott the Statin, a.k.a. Scotty Stats. The great Scott Hunter, Pepe Le Producer, who has been giving us more each week on his thoughts of the games, and I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Also have Up Greg, who's always here to give us his thoughts and what he thinks. And the chair, not the empty chair, but the actual chair, Brian, the pure producer,
The professor.
the professor,
There we go.
slash.
He's
producer.
also mostly the
He does all the producer work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just kind of give that name to
Yeah.
Eric and everyone else. But Brian actually does all the extra work. We hope he's feeling better next week. Truly, he is an integral part of the show, and we hope he's back and feeling better. Listen, thank you very much for coming to check us out. We are Half This Live. Hope you have a wonderful week. Enjoy the games. Enjoy all the football, because the week after, we get into Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
And we get into some heavy non-Sunday games. I can't wait. I know none of these guys can't either. Have a wonderful week. Thank you very much for listening to us. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next week. We are Half This is Live, Apple Podcast, and on Spotify. Come check us out. Leave a review. Perhaps. Give us a follow. Give us a like.
Man, that's right.
Give us a
There you
subscription.
go. There you go.
We'd appreciate all of those. Have a wonderful week. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. We're Half This is Live.